Great. Hey, listen, I'm glad you got a chance to throw in the new hairstyle photos and the new eyebrow photos and everything too as well. So that was really good. Yeah, I'm happy that you got everything together and it looks good. I didn't see any new style icon photos though. Did you get a
I
chance to throw
did
any
throw
of
in
those?
two they're in the style icon folder.
Okay, I looked
Yeah.
this morning, but like I don't know, probably 2 hours ago or so, but I didn't see.
Yeah.
Okay, so here, let me share my screen with you real quick. I just want to go over that real quick before we get started. All right. So, style icon stuff in terms of clothing and whatnot. So this is what I have here.
That's it.
Okay.
So I added Zuckerberg and Steve Jobs. What do you notice anything unusual about those two people?
The only thing, I mean, well, we both kind of know, yeah, exactly. This is the way that they sort of live their life is, throwing on the uniform. Steve Jobs has been historically the New Balance, the turtleneck sweater and the lighter jeans. That's kind of his look. And so, yeah, but like that's a Silicon Valley trope. And I work with a lot of, clients in Seattle or Silicon Valley who are like, they kind of want to do the same thing. And I think that for you, that makes sense to a certain degree. But I also think that there's an element of like, you like to have fun with your clothing too, right? You like to have, you stand out just a little bit. Like there's certain pairs of loafers that do that for you. There's certain shirts that have like a little flash to them, things like that, right? So.
Right. Let's pause there for a second though, because I need to give you some background information.
Sure.
So my goal since I was pretty young in college was to become a multimillionaire and to be able to do what I want, when I wanted, with whoever I wanted to be able to do it with. I've been able to achieve that goal. And so for me, I am not the best client that the best looking client that you've ever worked with. And so that is not my strength. My strength, what I've had to rely on since I didn't have athletic ability and I didn't have the incredible looks to be a movie star, I've had to rely on just sheer grind, like hard work. Right. And, basically the intelligence that I had basically get where I am and everything. So for me, if it doesn't make me money or if it doesn't buy me time, then it's not a good use of my time. And that's my personal value system. So really, style is not my thing. So you were talking about how I like to have fun with my clothes, like the sparkling shoes and some of the shirts and stuff like that was all picked out by other people. That was not me.
Okay.
So
very interesting.
So yeah, none of that. I have to have, when it comes to fashion and things like that, I don't see fashion. I just see things in a very general sense. Okay. So I have to essentially have people that tell me this is what you should be wearing. And generally they're right. So that's why I'm deferring to somebody like you to help me be seen through the perspective of other people, because, for example, a Gucci belt means nothing to me. But when I go out, I get all kinds of comments all the time, like, oh, I love that belt. That belt's so cool. Mm-hmm. Or when I wear some of the jackets, that I've got, they're like, oh, dude, that jacket is sick. Right. It's not anything that I could walk into a store and pick out on my own. I just don't have that part of my brain just doesn't exist. And so what I'm really hoping that you can do, I use Zuckerberg and Steve Jobs as an example, but I literally almost need it that simple where you can give me, this is what you should be wearing. And I just wear it pretty much. Right. is how it goes.
Okay. So then talk to me a little bit about the stuff that you have now, right? So we have sparkling shoes, we have, shirts with a lot of pattern, we have stuff around the collar, like very interesting items that generally are seen on guys who have a little bit of a louder personality, things that, communicate that sort of flash and sort of panache. Who picks these out for you? How are those getting their way? How are they making their way into the closet?
So I've had a couple previous stylists, right. And essentially they were the ones that looked at me and said, okay, this is what we're picking out for you. We're going to pick out these types of clothes and have you wear these items.
I'm just curious why. I think that for me, my whole thing, and I told you this from the beginning, was I try to adapt what's already there and what you enjoy, right? And sort of say, okay, this is your personality, this is who you are, let's let that shine through. Also according to what you're doing, right? Who you're seeing and the kind of influence that you want to make. But at the same time, there's many different ways to be well dressed, right? There's many different kinds of it's like food, right? Like we don't want to eat the same kind of food. Granted, there's great Italian food, right? But there's also other sets of food out there, right? That it's like, oh
Right.
yeah, that stuff is great too. For me, the stuff that you're wearing right now, that's why I was confused. It was like, okay, well, you said you want simplicity, right? You said you want like a more kind of just a simplified approach to things, but at the same time, we're seeing all these different items that are communicating different things. And so again, I was just curious why, and I don't really know why they picked those items out for you necessarily, because for me, it's like, all right, at the end of the day, you need to like what the clothing that you're in, right? Because it's too easy to do it otherwise. It's too easy for me to just grab stuff off a shelf and be like, all right, cool, wear this. Because why? What's it doing for us, right? And so for me, it's like, it has to communicate something. And I think that's where you come in, where I wanted more, and eventually we're going to work back to this too, regardless of sort of what happens. I do want to see more style icons in terms of where your eye goes. And I tell guys this all the time. I am a huge fan of architecture. Love it. I love going into I really like hotels a lot too. I'll go into a beautifully designed building. Like, this is fantastic. This is great. It makes me feel good, right? I'm like looking around. I love absorbing it. And
Right.
then if someone goes, Patrick, why do you like this? Dissect it for me. Shit, I don't know, right? Like, I have no idea. I don't know anything. What are you talking about, right? But I understand when something looks good, right? Because I'm a human being and I have eyes. The same thing happens for you. You have some things that you'll say, you know what? I gravitate towards that. I don't like that at all. Even if you don't know what you like, you at least know what you don't like, right? And so we start there. There needs to be something. There needs to be a foundation of like, okay, you know what? At least I'm enjoying putting the clothing on my body, because it shouldn't be that prescriptive. I think that is an area of fashion and style and stuff like that where it gets written off by guys like you. And I work with a lot of guys like you because it's not an area that sees initial benefits right away. When you start wearing it and when you start enjoying it and starts affecting your mindset, it totally changes the game. And I want to level you up to that point too, where it's like, at least you're liking the stuff that you're putting on and you feel like it reflects you, right? Especially if the clothing right now isn't doing that. We're going to simplify it so it gets down to that point, but that simplified little bit, right? Where it's like, okay, we got these core 5 to 10 items right here that you love. All of that stuff you need to enjoy wearing, right? Even if it is like, okay, this is just what you're going to be wearing every day. It's like Steve Jobs
Right.
probably really likes the turtleneck and he probably really likes those jeans. We're just going to make sure it looks really good on you, right? And that you enjoy
Right.
wearing that stuff. And so that's the balance that we need to get to. Like I said, I can give you 10 items all day that we can just say, all right, cool, this is it. But for me, I need to dig a little deeper with you. And so that's what I want to do following this. I'd like to see more of where your eye goes in terms of actually style and clothing and things like that. Okay.
Perfect.
Awesome.
So another thought that came to mind as I was preparing for this is that, like, right now my closet's filled with clothes, and
Right.
probably I wear realistically 20% of it.
Yeah.
And so the reason is, as I was thinking about, is that, number one, I don't know what to pair everything up with. So I'm going to default by nature to whatever 10 or 20% that I know always works.
Right.
And to me, it doesn't make sense to wear, like, if I look good in blue, then it doesn't make sense for me to wear gray, because why would I wear something less than what looks optimum on me just for the sake of having change? Because I never know when I'm going to be out and I'm going to meet somebody that I want to be at my best in that moment. And just because I decided I wanted to wear gray, which is not a good color on me, it makes no sense to me. So I guess that's the other part of it, is that as I'm thinking about things, like, why don't people wear suits every day? If suits essentially are the best looking thing for men, why don't they wear them every day? That would make sense, right?
Right.
And so I want to look at that and say, hey, if suits are what look best on me, then every day I should be, to up level my game and up level my thinking, I should be dressing myself in a suit that's going to give me the mindset of, being a higher performer,
Mm-hmm.
feeling better about myself,
Yeah.
gaining respect from other people.
Mm-hmm.
So let's have fun with it. Let's run with that.
Cool. And I agree with that to a certain extent. And I want to jump on both those points. The thing that you mentioned about color, that does make sense. To me, everything needs to work for you in 3 categories. And these are my 3 pillars of style. Okay. They are color.
Okay.
So
I'm going to be writing stuff down, because what you're saying is so important to me that I want to be taking notes.
Good. You also will get a PDF summary of this, but some of the stuff that we're talking about now won't be contained in that, just because we run off on tangents. And I know you seem like a guy that you'll jump into and stuff. And I think we'll feed off that, and we're going to jump off a little bit. So the PDF is going to be a lot of just the really bare bones sort of notes of everything. if you take a set of notes, you'll have whatever it is that you want, but you're also going to get the video recording of this. So some guys will play it back, and they'll play it back at like, 1.5, and then just kind of scrub through it and go kind of rewrite down stuff or just absorb stuff again. So you'll have both of those things. So I should note that, but taking notes is helpful. Going back to that. So color, right? So everything works for you from a color perspective, and there is a set of colors that looks better on you, right, than other sets of colors out there. So it's not just one specific color, but we're going to nail down this one set of colors that looks really good. So in that area, you're absolutely correct, but it's more than just one color. It's actually just a set of colors. So as long as you have that set, we're pretty good there. And I kind of was explaining to you a little bit of that in the assessment, right? We were talking about that just a little bit. So it's the same thing. You're going to have this set of colors. You should be wearing that all the time because that is what's going to make you look your best. But there is room to play within this little subset. The other thing that you were mentioning, so the other thing that I was mentioning, so color, then fit. So everything is working for your body type, right? So everything is making you look good from a menswear perspective of like, okay, we're showing enough cuff out of the jacket, right? The pants aren't too long, things like that. But also making sure that your body looks good, right? That we're creating an ideal male body shape, broader shoulders, right? Bigger arms, things like that, and narrower waist. And we're creating a very attractive sort of silhouette. Okay, so that's 2. Now, number 3 is where personal style comes in. 3 is you have clothing that you actually enjoy wearing, and it's a reflection of who you are. Because again, I can throw clothing on anybody all day. Like, it's too easy. That's just nothing. It doesn't communicate anything, right? So everything that you have in your closet, you should enjoy wearing. It's kind of like whatever you put in your body, you should enjoy the house you live in. You should enjoy your car. You should enjoy the food that you're putting in your body. That's how clothing works too. Now, if we nail all 3 of those things, that's it. We're done. You can take out any item in your closet and it works for you and you like wearing it and it'll pair with all the other items, right? Because it's sort of in the same family. That's sort of your test. And if we can pass those 3 things, you can bring an item into your closet. So I don't bring anything into my closet personally, right, that doesn't pass those 3 the 3 little tests. And you can think about them as like doors, right? That you open up door number 1, okay, it passes that, then we kind of keep moving and keep moving. So that's kind of how that works. So anyways, that was just like a little tangent, but we'll kind of circle back and we'll dive into what this actually is. So I'm going to give you the kind of rundown on what we're going to do today, what that looks like and kind of what you can expect. First things first, I'm the nicest guy in the world, but I'm going to tell you exactly what you're doing wrong, right? So it is a little bit, it's all out of love kind of thing. It's meant to be constructive as possible, and our time is better spent if I'm saying, hey, you know what, we can change this, that, the other. It's not a personal attack or anything like that, right?
Yeah, and so here's I'm just going to give you permission to go all out. I know that probably the last thing you want to do is piss off your clients, and so they don't come back to you. But I'm giving you that permission. That's the feedback I need, and generally I don't get that because I have a lot of yes people around me. Right. So give me the honest feedback. I'd rather make some headway here today than just stay stuck where I'm at.
Right. And well, I mean, to me, that's my only job. I don't make commission on clothing. I'm not trying to sell you anything. It's literally, it's like, hey, you know what? Here's what we're going to do. I'm going to say, hey, this is working for you. This isn't, because my job is to get you looking good. And if I can do that, I'm happy. Right. And at the end of the day, you'll be happy. You might not like it now or whatever, but then 1 month you're going to be like, holy crap, this is good stuff. Right. And so we want that. And for me, that's my end goal. So anyway, so there's that part of it. And then, like I said, the way that the consultation works, we're going to talk about grooming first, right? So the hairstyle, skincare, things like that, that's going to lead into color. So we'll talk about that set of clothing. That's going to lead into fit and talking about your outfits that you have now and ways that we can tweak that, dress your body. And then finally, personal style. So kind of talking about how we can simplify things a little bit, and then also what we need to add in, what we need to take out, right? And we're going to try to cram as much of that as possible into today to give you like a really good, kick. This is our sort of kicking down the door, right? We're going to make like a big, big implementation. Then after that, you have a month of follow-up. So as we go implement this stuff, you're going to have support from me as you go out and buy these items, right? Or take things out, say, hey, Patrick, what do you think about this, right? How does this look? How would I style this? Do you think I should take this out? Things like that we can go back and forth on, and we can do follow-ups at any point that you'd like, okay?
Yep.
Great. All right, so we're going to talk about the grooming stuff, and this is, like I said, a good time to do it because you just got the haircut, right? So I'm glad to see that you implemented some of that. Did that all make sense to you when I was talking about the expressiveness of the eyebrows and some of the hairstyle stuff? Was that resonating? Okay, good.
100%.
Good. All right, so let me share my screen with you, and we can kind of jump in here to this, and we'll get started. Okay, so you should be able to see my screen, right?
Yep. Got it.
Beautiful. All right, so Let's pull these guys up here. So walk me through exactly kind of what you told him and what your experience was and everything like that.
Actually, I played the exact video, and I walked in. I said, here's what we're doing. Here's the video. He wants it more straight up on the sides without the bump. His feedback to you was that I have a natural bump here in my head. So even though you want it coming up straight, he couldn't do that. That was about as good as he could get it. So he left it longer on top per your video, and essentially with the idea being that, you know, that could hide some of the thinning going on in the front. From this picture, and actually since I've gotten the haircut, I think that the thinning shows more with the long hair. And I actually, this was the day I got it, and he spent all kinds of time styling it and blowing it and putting product in it. Instructions to him were to put a product with a light sheen in it. So he used some type of like almost like a working wax that he put between his palms. And this is how it came out. I wasn't super thrilled with it. I guess the sides came out fine, but I just, as far as the style and everything goes, I wasn't super happy with it.
So here's the deal. So first off, I mentioned this in the video, and I knew this was going to happen and this is why I don't like doing this beforehand. When I say sheen, I say natural sheen. And I remember specifically in the video, I go, not wax, not pomade. Look here. This is how hair products break down. Anything here, over here, we have high shine, right? Over here, we have low shine. Pomades, waxes, gels, all that. Water-based products and wax-based products, they weigh the hair down and they make it look thinner. My hair sucks. I have terrible hair too as well. I know exactly what to do to make this kind of hair look really good. I would die if I had a product like this in my hair. I need something like a clay or a fiber, maybe a paste, right? Something with a very, very low amount of sheen. Sometimes I don't even use product, right? Because again, it weighs down the hair too much and it actually will sort of constrict the hair and make it look thinner and finer, right? So that product is completely out for you. Let's talk about kind of what we need to do and why this is actually looking more apparent. So the thing about the hairstyle looking a little bit thinner now, it's like, yeah, it does because of the direction. If I take the length of the hair, we need the length to do something important. But right now, let's think about it like this. We have the hair that you had before, right? Shorter. And so let's say for sake of argument, we keep it that long. All right. Well, you can really see through down to the scalp, right? Just with keeping it that long. All right, let's do the same thing. Let's grow this hair out this long now. Okay, but what we're going to do, we're going to gel that strand. It's going to go straight up, right? So now all of our hair straight up, it's doing the same thing, right? We can still see right through because it's not covering anything, right? Think about the hair as like a blanket where it can sort of lay over things and it can cover things in the right way. Here's the issue. All this stuff right here, still going up and back. Right? All of this stuff, it's still just going straight up and then back. All of this hair here should be going forward. Okay, this stuff, and this is like right immediately, I was like, okay, this is exactly why, because I didn't really like it either. I thought this looked a little thinner than I would like it to. I like the general direction of things. I think that, like, you know, the sides look good. I like keeping the top longer because it does give you a little bit of a style and it doesn't look like you didn't do your hair, right? So that's good. But this right here, the reason that it looks thin is because all of this is just getting hit by light. Right? What needs to happen is this needs to all move forward. Okay, so this hair here should be moving forward, and even this hair here can be swept up into the temple. And so I'm going to show you this in a sec here, but that's the reason why is we're growing it out a little longer, but we're not doing what we need to do with it, right? So that hair should be moving a little bit more forward in order to cover that light. So again, if I take my hair and I sweep it back like this, that's just going to bring up more recession and thing. You're going to notice it, right? If this all moves forward, it covers all that, right? You got to think about it like that. So instead of going up like this, yeah, light's allowed to hit into it. Comes down, okay, now we're covered, right? It creates this shadowing effect on the top. And that's what I said in the video too. I was like, we need to create that sort of shadowing effect that comes with it. Now, there's other products and stuff too. So a lot of this is going to come down to your own styling. And I have worked with, God, 100 some odd stylists in my time, both as a man and as what I do. I've never been extremely happy with a haircut. It's always been my own doing. When I make it look its best, it's been because of my own sort of processes and stuff like that. So you will have to tweak this in the way you want to sort of make it look a little bit better. You spend all day with you. He spends 45 minutes, right? So there's a little bit of a difference, and he sees different stuff all day. You know your hair type and your texture a little bit better. So a lot of this will come down to some of the products that you use and stuff as well. So let's talk about that first. Let's build our baseline, and then we'll talk about the actual hairstyle. So start with this, shampooing. What are we doing for shampoo?
Art, bought the Nioxin as you recommended, started using that today.
Which one?
Nioxin 2.
The shampoo one, okay. Because I was telling you to use I remember, because I watched the video again, I was telling you to use the Nioxin, the Diamax, or Diamax thickening thing. This one. So the shampoo, that's fine. This is what we need to do. This is what we need to use as a pre-styler. Okay, so this is really what's going to thicken the hair. The shampoo's good, right? You can keep using that, but this is what I was referencing right here, is this the Diamax Advanced. Now, what that's going to do is actually kind of thicken up the hair a little bit and give us, what we're trying to do is work away from the thinning. We're trying to give it, you know, enough balance, and we're trying to give it enough plumpness to make sure that that doesn't kind of doesn't happen, right? So there's that. So here's this is the way this is going to go down. Out of the shower, towel dry your hair. Now for you, before you start styling it, you can use this stuff. This is huge for you. If you use product, and I bet your guy did this too, when you use product, and obviously, I don't know if you're gonna show him this video too, but it's you know, communicate, like everything that he did is good. I think that again, we just need to change direction and stuff a little bit, right? Product for you should not go in when it is wet, even damp, okay? Especially wax. Here's the deal. Think about your hair when it's wet, okay? It weighs it down, okay? All that water. You get out of the shower, my hair looks terrible when I get out of the shower. You can almost see through scalp through it, right? You can see it's very fine, it lays flat, right? Our hair looks terrible when it's wet, okay? Now, let's take our hair product, let's take our wax. We're gonna style the hair then, okay? What happens is that hair product, that wax, it coats the hair and it locks in all that moisture. Everyone styles their hair when it's damp because they think it's easier to do, and for guys with great hair it is. For guys with thinner hair, it's terrible. It looks terrible because all you're doing is locking in that moisture, and it makes you look like you have a wet head the entire time. So your hair ends up looking thinner and finer. Wait until it's dry, okay? So like dry to style it. That's when you kind of want to do that. So out of the shower, towel dry your hair, and it can be damp when you apply the Diamax, okay? So you're going to throw that in, you're going to comb that through, okay? That's going to start kind of thickening the hair just a little bit, right? That's going to act as your pre-styler. Then you can add product. Before you do, did I show you Topic before? Did I mention that?
No.
Topic is a concealing fiber powder. This is huge for you, especially because you have really good coverage, but what we need is to make it not look so thin, okay? So this is how this works. This fiber powder here basically kind of plumps up thinning areas, right? So like, I mean, you can probably see this a little bit. This has been a godsend for a lot of my clients because it literally just, if you don't have the coverage, it doesn't work. You do, it just thickens up the existing hair already, okay? Small bottle of this, 25 bucks. Use it, see if you like it. If you don't ever use it again. It's your call. But this is exactly what you need to really kind of make a difference with things, okay? It'll take you a bit to figure out, you know, but I mean, once you do, you're probably going to use it for a lot, right? It's a product that I use personally as well. And again, for myself and for clients, it's been an absolute lifesaver. So this stuff here. Now, in terms of styling the hair, okay, that's when we can start playing around a little bit. So let me show you kind of what we'd want to do. So again, the sides and all that look good. I want to illustrate things that I want to do more towards the top, okay? So, and I want to show you a lot of different stuff and kind of just illustrate what's going on here. There we go. Okay, so let's start here. What I'm talking about when the hair is moving forward is right now, think about this guy's hair from the side view, right? All this hair is moving forward and then it's going over to the side, right? Kind of the same thing through here. Now, what this will do is, again, think about, let's bring up your photo real quick so we can just show, whoops, so we can see this. All of that then, all of this gets covered, right? Because it lays flat. And so we don't see in here, this hairline is literally hidden, right? So, because it's all moving forward. And then this hair right here, if you wanted to, which I might try to do, you can grow that a little longer and this can actually be swept up into this hairstyle, again, covering the hairline more and again, covering this temple. That creates a very, very straight, nice looking hairline, right? So right now we're just exposed. We're really, really exposed through here. And especially without the thickening products and the Topic and things like that, it's not gonna look very good, right? So That's what I would do there. I would move all this stuff forward. Okay, create that. Still keep it off the forehead, definitely, but start moving that stuff forward, and consider moving this up into the hairstyle too as well. So we would soften this area through here, making this a soft part rather than a hard part, right? So you're not going to like disconnect it like that. This hair is going to be shorter and it's going to be heavily texturized, and you're going to sweep that into the top like that. Okay, so all that hair there goes up, kind of goes into this way like that. All right.
All right.
Just like that. And that's pretty much it. I mean, like I said, we are on the right track. Like, at least you have a style now. We just have to make things look a little bit better. So again, sort of like this, we can see it's like, dude, this guy does not have a great hairline, right? But this hair is coming over the temple on this side. This hair is, you see how texturized and choppy this is right here, right?
Right.
All of that hair right there is allowed to then kind of do whatever it wants. It can go up here, it can go down, it can do whatever. And so that's kind of what we want to do there. This is obviously not for the sides, but for the top, kind of illustrating the same thing. This hair is not super finely combed through, right? It's a soft parting, which means some hair is going up, some hair is going down. It's not like a very hard disconnection. And so we want that. And then this hair again, moving forward and then off to the side once it reaches the top. This one was kind of the same deal. This is what it's a little bit more up in front, but the same idea. It's not moving back. Everything needs to just go forward and then towards the side, and then work those sides in like this, right, to where we can actually cover some of the temple, because that would be really nice too as well. That'll create a straighter looking hairline, because viewing it from the front, if this hair comes in through here, right, that sort of that allows it to just look straighter all the way across. Okay, so
okay.
In terms of hair product, how well does your hair hold by itself? Like if you combed it, is it going to stay kind of where it's at?
Yeah, actually, generally I don't use product. Over the past year or so, I haven't even used any.
Okay, I would say that you probably don't need to. What I might consider doing would be adding maybe a little bit of like a grooming spray or a mousse or something like that to just give you a little. This was for the choppiness. I want more of that texture through the top as well. So this is a little bit more texturized than I want, and obviously shorter. But that pieciness, that texturization, that's what will give you, A, it looks really good for thinning hair. And then B, it looks really good when you're doing those partings, right? Those sort of disconnections and stuff. Okay. So anyway, so what I was going to say, like any product is going to weigh the hair down. Okay. It's just the way it is. So we either need to avoid product or use the right product. I would like it if you did have a little bit of something going on there, right? So at the very least, what I might do is make sure you have like a hairspray or something that can just lock in the hairstyle, because hairsprays, usually what hairsprays are like they're kind of like a protection plan, right? A lot of guys will come to me and they're like, hey man, I'm using like a really high hold product, but it's just falling throughout the day. Like what am I supposed to do? I'm like, look, high hold product does not mean it's not for the extent, right? It doesn't mean that you have all day to have the hairstyle. It just gives you the glue to sort of build the hairstyle, right? What hairspray does is it locks things in place, right? So you can say, all right, well, we have this where we want it, right? Okay, the hair is, it's moving over, right? I've styled the front a little bit, all that kind of stuff. And then if you just hit it with some hairspray, it's going to lock that in to make sure it doesn't go anywhere, right? So that might end up being just kind of what we do. And it'll add just a teeny little bit of sheen to it as well. So why don't we try that for a little bit, right? With the product, styling with that, and that'll at least make it not look thin, right? And then if we want to, we can experiment. I'm going to give you another product too. It's like a thickening paste. We're going to use a dime size amount of that, run it through your hands like this, right? And I would just go forward with it like this, right? And just coat the hair a little bit. It'll thicken things up, I mean, slightly, but also it'll give us that little healthy sheen that we need. You look really bad in anything with shine. You're going to see this in color stuff too, but I would never use a wax for you. I would never use a pomade for you. A, it's not good for your coloring, but it's terrible for your hair type too as well. All right, so build the foundation, then we're going to work on the actual styling of it, right? Kind of what we saw here in these photos. Okay. Does all that make sense, kind of why we're doing that and everything?
100%.
All right, perfect. The other thing that I want to do, I want you to bring your sideburns down just a touch. I'd bring them down to about the middle of the ear, and then I want you to add just a teeny little slant to them like that. All right,
okay.
Like right about there. So that'll fall a little closer on the cheekbones, okay? Your sideburns are very, very high up now, but this will come down just a little bit more on the cheekbones, excuse me, and act as sort of a highlighting device for the cheekbones, and it'll actually make them look a little bit more prominent. So try bringing those down, like I said, right, usually rule of thumb is somewhere around mid-ear to all the way down here, depending on where your actual cheekbone sits. I think for you, it's going to be right about there. So just bring that down, and the little slant we add, because the slant will sort of, it softens the direction of things. And it's, if you look at everything on your face, everything has sort of a downward slant like this, right? And so everything going like that, it just has a congruency factor to it that ends up making that look pretty good, as well as your, it can highlight the cheekbones really well too. Because if you think about your cheekbone, you actually feel that bone, it runs like this, right? It runs that way. You're basically sort of coming up underneath it, and you're allowing it, it's sort of like acting like makeup and kind of highlighting the cheekbone a little bit. So again, we're like right, oops, there. And we can adjust this as needed too as well. Okay.
Okay.
Perfect. All right. I think that's pretty much what I had for you for hairstyle. I am excited to see what happens with the product, especially the Diamax and the Topic for sure. But I mean, it's just little tweaks. I mean, we're keeping the side part direction, but I just want to recap this. We're softening this, okay? So you're gonna add a lot of texturization through here. This becomes a soft part, not a hard part. This stuff here, instead of moving backwards like this, all this hair is gonna move forward, okay? It's gonna cover all of this here. These hairs, you might need to grow this stuff right here longer. Okay, I do this with clients all the time. We'll grow, and a lot of barbers would be like, what are you talking about? This is crazy. My stylist is a dual licensed barber and hairstylist. She owns a salon out here, and so we get experimental quite a bit. But either way, what happens is we'll grow this hair longer right here. This hair looks fine, and it's hard to keep longer. You know, if you grow this hair out here, it looks really thin and wispy. This stuff here is where your bulk comes from. What we'll do is sometimes we'll grow this a little longer, and that way it'll fib this, and it'll come over and hide all that, right? Because that hair is nice and thick and all that. We just sweep that into there, right? And we cover those sort of finer and thinner hairs like that. Look, all we're doing for you is just bringing this stuff forward so it sits more like this, okay? So all this is moving forward and then off to the side. This stuff is gonna start to be all soft and texturized and come up into the hairstyle a little bit more, right? Blending this corner, creating a kind of covering the temple there. I think you did a great job on the sides. I think that all looks good. So we'll just keep that going there. That's pretty much it. And then changing up the product, okay?
Okay.
Great. All right, so any questions on the hairstyle stuff?
No questions on that. Did a good job.
Let's do color, or sorry, not color, skincare. Walk me through your routine, because I'm definitely curious to hear.
It's super easy. I don't do anything for skincare.
Hey, all right, there you go.
So actually, I've got pretty good skin as far as like I don't have to deal with acne or anything like that.
Yep.
This picture, just so you're kind of aware, about a day or two prior to this, I had IPL laser done. So that's why you're seeing a lot of dark spots when you have IPL laser. Actually, probably more representative is like how I look today. You can see that a lot of those dark spots have like flecked off and are gone now. But generally, I don't do it, and I also hadn't shaved this day either. So
yeah.
So anyway, as far as skincare goes, I do Botox just to keep my forehead smooth and that 11 right between the eyes done. I'll occasionally do the IPL to remove any sun damage, as I kind of did right here. And that's usually about it. I mean, just soap and water, and that's it.
Okay. I think that you're doing a pretty good job. I think that, you know, I like guys when they do a little bit less rather than more. And I've seen so many guys' faces at this point. I've been able to sort of say, you know what? What's fascinating about this is that the guys that generally do less scrubs and exfoliation, and the guys that don't treat their skin terribly, they usually look pretty good. Now, I see a lot of kids these days getting pushed by, you know, Instagram influencers and things like that to get their 10-step skincare program or whatever. All of that stuff is trash. It's not good. And it's also, you're over, like, these kids have perfect, you know, skin, right? And they're screwing it up by creating, basically the balance of their moisture balance of their face is getting thrown off. Their skin's like, what are you doing, man? Right? We had good skin and you're just throwing all this stuff at us. So I'm a big proponent of doing less, but also hitting it with the right stuff, right? So like we say, all right, well, what's going on with you specifically? Love that you're doing the Botox. That's great. And I love that you're doing the laser. I wish more guys would do that because it really is a great thing. Now, here's what I'll say. I think that, yeah, the laser, keep doing that for the dark spots. You still have some of that stuff kind of through here. You'll still have some of those dark spots. And those are darker spots that sometimes a laser won't even get, right? Like they won't just fleck off. So they're a little bit deeper.
Right.
So I would like to take care of that a little bit. Generally, general anti-aging stuff, because you do see, you know, there's some fine lines and things like that. But I mean, you're what, 49, right?
Right.
your skin looks great for 49. And so, you know, that's great, but we just need to make sure that we're moving in the right direction. I would use here's kind of what I have for you. Okay. I would like you to probably do a very lightweight cleanser. What are you using for soap right now? You said you're washing with soap. What are you using?
Bath and Body Works.
Okay. Is it just like, is it a facial wash or like
a body wash?
Okay, so let's remove that. Body washes are usually a little bit too rough for the face. We want something real gentle for the face. This could be even like a Cetaphil or a CeraVe that you would just buy from the drugstore if you wanted to. Something that's got to be very light. After that, I want to add in you need some way to moisturize the face. Now this is sort of like, if there's two things guys need to do, they just need to wash their face, even if it's with warm water, just to get some of that dirt out, and they need a way to hydrate it. Hydrating the face is sort of how you prevent against fine lines and wrinkles in the future. Okay, so you think about lubricating your movements. The reason we get wrinkles is because we're creasing our face a lot, right? If that skin is lubricated, it doesn't want to bend and crinkle and crease, right? Because it frees it up. And so a moisturizer is sort of your baseline level. For you, we want some anti-aging properties in there. And then also we want to make sure that we're handling some of the sunspots and that kind of stuff, right? So here's what we got. All right, so we're using, if we're basically throwing things at you, this is what I would want you to do. I would want you to do a wash with IS Clinical. So the IS Clinical, hold on one sec. Let me get my face out of the way here. I'll just search it. Wash, and then we're gonna do the Dr. Gross, the retinol face. Okay. So this is going to be, not that. This is what we're doing for the discoloration and evening out the skin tone. All right, white lightning. This stuff is great. So basically kind of evens out the complexion. All right, so this is what we would do for a serum. So first things first is we're gonna wash the face. That's like really this guy right here, cleansing complex, just this super easy, lightweight cleansing complex. IS Clinical is a great brand for skincare, but again, this could be Cetaphil or CeraVe, as long as you have some lightweight way to wash your face, okay? So we have this. After that, you're doing where do we see here? The white lightning, okay? So this is your, basically, again, just your evening skin tone serum, all right? So that comes after that. Then we're using the Dr. Gross, this one, the Retinol Anti-Aging Moisturizer. Retinol is your catch-all for skincare, right? And I was surprised that you weren't using retinol actually. But this is a great thing to just prevent against anti-aging, just general moisturizing, stuff like that. So this comes after that. All right. So that's basically it. So it's a 3-step skincare system for you. If you wanted to add in something else, we would do this serum too as well. So you'd alternate between the two. So the white lightning and this guy here. So this is their kind of catch-all serum for anti-aging. But we really want the white lightning to actually even out the complexion and the skin tone. So
white lightning, how does that apply? Is that like a foundation? Is that?
That's just like the dropper, and you would just apply it to your hands, right? And you would just say, okay, well, and once it's in there, I mean, here, I'll come back to you. Once it's in there, we just, kind of just go like this, right? That's it.
And somehow that evens out the complexion? I mean, it seems like that wouldn't do a whole lot. I mean, I look at women who use like foundation and makeup, heavy makeup, and that evens out, but I'm just something like that. You're saying that that's actually going to show a noticeable difference?
And not initially. I mean, this stuff takes time, right? We're all working you to the right direction. This isn't like an initial thing.
That was my question. But the way I was understanding is this is like foundation where if I've got, age spots or anything, it's going to hide it. But you're saying it's going to essentially take, when do I see the results? 4 weeks? 8 weeks?
I mean, it depends on your skin, and I can't comment on that. I wish I could, but I don't want to give you a quote and have it be. Look, all I'm saying is this is the best stuff out there, right? I'm just going to give you what works. I've tested all these brands. I talk with the reps. I know everything. I know about skincare, and this is if you want stuff that's going to work, it's like this is the stuff. If you don't want to do it, keep up the laser and do all that kind of stuff. This entire thing, I'm just going to give you everything that works, and you can pick and choose what you want out of it, right? And that'll be it. So with this stuff, it's like for me, there's no reason not to do it. It's going to make a noticeable difference in your skin, especially the retinol. Like you will see a difference. Is it going to cure everything overnight? Absolutely not, right? Is it going to cure everything in general, no, probably not, right? Is it going to make a noticeable difference? Yes. After, use of it, it will. So for me, it's like, yeah, you know what? We got to put in the work to move things in the right direction, right? And so
Right.
that's to me, it's like, if we can move the needle in the right direction, I'm going to do it, and I'm going to tell you to do it too, right? I just want you to say all these little things add up, and we just push you in that right direction. You did mention something interesting though, so about foundation and things like that. You can use some of that stuff. The way that I like to use it, and I don't use it personally, the way I like to do it for clients is actually getting tinted moisturizers, okay? And I do not use that for them all the time, but if you do have some sort of, if you have a date, if you have like a speaking engagement, something like that where you need to look really good, a good tinted moisturizer is usually the way to go, because it sort of blends a little bit better, and you can kind of, it's less likely that someone's going to notice that you're wearing makeup, basically, right? Because that's what a tinted moisturizer is. So I don't know if you've ever experienced one of those before. Have you tried that out?
Haven't tried that out.
Okay, so I'll give you. I think it would be good for you to pick one up and just see if you like it. Some guys are like, "This is really weird. It's not for me." This Shiseido, Dr. Gross has one too as well, but Shiseidos are pretty good, and they tend to have a little bit more. Excuse me, they have a little bit more options in terms of color. With this one though, your best bet is to go to Nordstrom, because we won't know specifically like which one looks best on you, and they usually have more colors than this too. But that way they can test it on you, right? And that way you're not buying it online. You're like, I can't, this doesn't look right. So the ladies there at the skincare counter will be able to help you with that. So anytime that if I do take a client to get a tinted moisturizer, we're definitely testing it first, because I don't want you to buy something and then it looks like you're wearing foundation, because that
Right.
is a huge detractor from what we're trying to do. But that will help even out some of the skin tone and the discoloration right away. So I don't choose to use it personally, mainly because I just tend to say, you know what, like, let's just work towards actually getting rid of this stuff, right, and being healthy and things like that. But for clients that are out in the public eye more, I understand the need for it. But a full-on set of men's makeup is a little extreme, and I don't think that you need that. I think a good tinted moisturizer will work well for you. Okay.
Okay.
This adds, a little bit to the routine, but nothing crazy, enough to say, hey, we're moving things in the right direction. You have a solid base for skincare now. Keep up what you're doing. Everything's good. You definitely, there's definitely no reason not to add retinol. There's definitely no reason not to add a little bit of a serum in there. And also to stop washing your face with harsh chemicals from a body wash, right? Body washes are, the skin on our face is actually thinner, right? So generally we don't want to do that. Dove is pretty much the only bar soap that you could use on your face, but it would just be better to just have nice dedicated step-by-step system for you,
Okay.
So does that make sense? Are we good there? Can we work some of these guys in?
Absolutely.
All right,
I'll
perfect.
get on that.
Cool. And this all will be in your PDF too as well. So you can just kind of click through and say, all right, cool, I'm going to grab that. And then you can just click it and buy it. That way it makes it super easy for you to go through and actually to hit all the items on the checklist, so to speak. Okay.
Perfect.
All right. So any more questions on some of the skincare, grooming related stuff like that?
No more questions on that.
The one thing that I was going to bring up too, and I'm a little on the fence about this too, but I wanted to run it by you, was facial hair. So have you ever experimented with facial hair before?
I can't do it.
Okay.
The reason is that I've actually had a lot of it lasered at this
Okay.
point, but I used to get really bad razor bumps on my neck. And so
Gotcha.
basically the solution was we basically just lasered all that hair, and that stopped the problem.
Gotcha. So everything pretty much down here is completely lasered then, huh?
Even up here.
Okay, gotcha. The other thing too is the reason that I was on the fence about it too was just because there could be more gray in there, right? So you see a little bit of gray through here. We don't want to age you, and so if there's a lot of gray coming through in the facial hair, usually I'm saying let's keep that reserved. But it does kind of create a nice strong looking jawline a lot of times, and so that's helpful for that. It's a give and take, right? There's always balances here. So for what it's worth, I think it was something that I was going to run by you. I don't think that you need it. And I was just going to say, hey, we could see if we could try it. But looking at through here, I was just concerned with the gray. And so we would have to test that out first anyway, to make sure that there's not too much gray coming through anyway. So yeah, I think we're good. We're good on that there.
Okay.
All right, great. Let's move on to color. So Color is what we talked about before we talked about anything else clothing related, because if we get the wrong colors for us, it's like, what's the point, right? So we might as well talk about color first. Have you given any thought to color before in terms of what looks really good on you, stuff like that? And I went over this a little bit in the assessment too, but give me your thoughts on color and your approach to it, because you had mentioned you're like, yeah, I look good in blue, right? And so it's like, why don't we just wear blue all the time, which makes sense, you know?
Right. Yeah, so I'm familiar with color. I'm familiar with I'm trying to go back to my training on this, but you have your falls, your springs, your summers, your winter colors, your pastels, your bolder colors, so your warms, your cools, all that.
Right.
So generally, the reason I go with blues, it pulls out the blue from my eyes. Usually that's been a really good color on me. It's solid. When I've worn grays and other colors like gray jeans, even with like a blue shirt or something, I just haven't felt that it looks as good as other stuff.
Right.
So
the part of the reason for this too. So whenever you wear colors underneath your face, we're going to get into the color analysis stuff like the seasons here in a sec. Whatever you wear underneath your face is going to pull colors from your face, right? And
right.
shine them through, okay? So one thing is when you wear gray, what happens? Well, we pull gray from the face. We pull gray through the beard. We pull gray through the hair, things like that. There's reasons for this stuff. With the blue, same thing. You're going to pull that through. Some of the reasons you might not like wearing brown, like deeper, darker brown near the face, would be that it pulls out sunspots, okay? So all of this stuff, it's going to always pull out features. And so what our goal is to pull out the right features. Okay, generally, we want to pull out things like eyebrows, okay? Again, showing our expressiveness. We want to pull out our eyes. We want to pull out our deepest, darkest hair color, right? Because that's not going to be gray. So all of those things are things that we actually want to pull out with color. So when you wear the right colors, okay, we hold eye contact well, skin clears up, right? Eyes come out, everything looks good, right? That's our goal, is to just have everything looking good, youthful, clean, and clear. And so that's where color comes in, right? Trying to find those right colors for you. Now, when you did when you worked with, personal stylists and things like that, did they do color analysis for you?
They did not.
Okay. So this is a big thing, and this is like kind of what I was saying too before about, if you just pull clothing, it's too easy, right? We need to think deeper. We need to think more about, okay, how do we make you look your best? And that is by wearing the right stuff underneath your face. And you were right on, and you know more about this than most of my clients do, which is great. So here are those 4 seasons that you talked about: spring, summer, autumn, and winter. Okay, so everybody in the world can be categorized into one of these 4 buckets, so to speak: spring, summer, autumn, or winter. And they're just indicative of the colors that you find in that season, right? Spring has pastel-y, floral tones, right? Summer is beachy, clear, sort of blue skies. Autumn is leaves changing in mud, and winter is icy, darker, terrible weather stuff. These could be effectively named 1, 2, 3, and 4, right? It just depends on where you are. Right. And the system's been around for about 120 years for people like me to use for people like you. So anyway, by the end of this, we figure out which one of these you are, right? And kind of move towards that. Now, the reason that I ask you all those weird questions, your vein color, your hair color as a child, your eye, your eye color, and all that kind of stuff, all of that goes into color analysis. So this is something that I've already done for you, but really it breaks down to 3 things. Okay. And if we can figure out these 3 things, we know exactly what colors you should be wearing. Okay. Hue, value, and chroma. So hue is whether you look better in cooler colors or warmer colors. Value is lighter colors or deeper colors. Chroma is clearer colors or softer colors, right? And that's it. If you can nail those 3 things, we'll know exactly what colors you should be wearing. So in order to determine this, we look at the answer key. We look at your face. Everything that you wear should be based on these colors. Everyone, not everyone, but I see a lot of guys try to contrast their face very heavily. I see my really white, pale clients being like, I need to wear black so I stand out, right? Or guys with really dark features saying, I need to wear, really light colors so people notice me and I'm not all black and stuff like that. A lot of that is not great advice, right? So the idea is to take everything that's going on here and have it flow down here. There should be a congruency between this and this. And if we can create that congruency, if we can create those channels, right, everything looks good. And we don't get stuck here, which was a problem like I was showing you in the assessment, right? We were getting stuck kind of down here. And so we create those channels. Everything has to work congruently for what's up here. So we just look at your face and we say, there it is. So now the first things first, right? Whether or not we are cooler or warmer. And if you're looking at, if we're looking at just colors alone, right, we can say, oh yeah, you know what, you are definitely cooler than you are warmer. Okay, so you have pinkish undertones to your skin, bluer eyes, right, some of the gray in the hair. All of this is indicative of cooler coloring. Warmer coloring is bronzy, golden, sort of coppery tones, right? That's more in that warm direction over there. So we don't really have any of that. And then in fact, if we pull out some of those tones, notice that we're going to pull out some of the redness in the face. We're going to pull out the sunspots, right? Stuff like that we don't actually like. It's very easy to tell that you actually lean cooler rather than warmer. Okay, so that
Okay.
takes care of that. Now, this already is helpful because you go, all right, cool. Well, you know what I'm going to do? I'm just going to wear cooler colors, and we're going to stay away from some of those warmer guys, right? We're going to stay away from the rust colors. We're going to stay away from the mustards and all of this, what's in this section here, we're just going to stay away from. All right, so there we go. So there's that. Now, the next thing that we're looking at too was depth. Okay, so depth, we talk about, let's bring this guy up here. Oops, no, let's bring somebody else up. All right, so depth or value, okay, is sort of, if we place you on a scale, okay, and we say, all right, well, do we look better in lighter colors or do we look better in deeper, darker colors? Now, a way that we can figure this out, all right, let's take this scale right here. We'll call this the grand scale of human lightness and darkness. And up top here, we got our Irish guys and our German guys, right, who are very, very white. We'll say, see-through skin and eyes, right? Bleach blonde hair, very, very light up here. Down here, we have darker colored individuals, Italians, Hispanics, right, with jet black hair, things like that, right? Now, what we can do for you is we'll say, all right, well, where do you fall on this scale here? We'll look at your deepest, darkest tone, and we'll say, okay, that's probably a color in your hair, right, is probably the deepest, darkest tone here. We would say, all right, we'll just pick one of those dark colors, and we'll translate it over here. Now, let's do this. Even if we just cut this in half, right, we say, all right, would you fall darker or lighter? It's like, all right, you fall a little bit towards the lighter end of the spectrum, right? We're not super deep and dark. We are just a little bit lighter. Now, we want to actually translate this out, right? So if we take that deepest, darkest tone and we put it over here, I would say that that's about kind of just right above the middle. I would say somewhere right in there, right, is about where that tone would translate, your deepest, darkest tone. Now, what this means is that we want to wear colors within our spectrum of the depth level, okay? So we want to wear colors that are sort of reflective of where we land. So if we were going to pick gray for you, which again, gray isn't great for you, right? Because it pulls out some of the wrong things in your face, but we would pick one through here, right? Sort of in the upper middle end of the spectrum, that's where we would choose our gray. Here's the thing. This could be purple, this could be blue, this could be yellow, this could be any color. What we're going to do is we're going to sink down to our area of depth, okay? So right around that middle, slightly lighter, and that's the right color that we're going to choose. So if we're looking at blue, it's like I would say that this is a little bit too dark for you. I would lighten this up a touch, right? Because we can do this with blue. Let's say you and I are we're shopping for a blue t-shirt, right? We're saying, all right, let's go to the store. We're going to grab a blue t-shirt. Where do you fall on the depth scale? And it's like, all right, well, what blue would you be? Now, I would say that this is maybe done a little incorrectly, but we would say towards the middle, like this would be a better blue for you than the deeper and darker colors, right? Same thing with green. Here we go. So you would probably look better in like that green or this green rather than this deeper and darker green. It's just going to be too much for you. But the same thing goes with lighter colors too. We're not all the way at the top end of the spectrum, right? Where it's like you're going to look good in super, super light colors, right? At the top here either. We just say, all right, we're going to stay around our chunk. We're going to stay in this area and play. So not too deep and dark, not too super light, right? And then that's where you live. You can't always wear colors like this, right? We can't always wear colors just in that spectrum because that gives you no room to pair and play with, and especially with things like white, right? You're wearing a white shirt today. If that was all you were wearing, I might have a problem with that. Here's the thing. Layering pieces or other pieces like ties, pocket squares, things like that, create that connection, okay? Think about those linking elements and those linking pieces. I could wear a terrible color for me right here, and then all I would need to do is throw a jacket or a layering piece or a tie or a pocket square, some element that will soften the blow of this bad color shirt, right? And make that connection between face and body, okay? That's all we're doing is creating linking elements there. And then the next thing that we're looking at is chroma. Okay, so chroma is whether you look better in softer, let's go back here, softer, more muted colors, right? Or more, brighter sort of shiny colors, right? And I already told you this too. Here's the example of chroma that I was looking for. I already told you this too, but brighter colors will tend to overpower you. Your coloring is very soft. It's subdued. There's nothing very bright and vibrant about it, right? It is a little bit more toned down and softer. You look better in these softer colors than you do those brighter shiny colors. Those will overpower you way, way, way too much. Okay? So generally, let's think about what we know. We know that you lean cooler. We know that you're kind of in the middle, but you lean slightly lighter, and we know that you lean softer. Great. All those characteristics we can use right now, but why don't we start translating that? Why don't we say, all right, how do we adapt this to what we need here? Let's take this wheel. All right. On this wheel, we have our seasons, okay, winter, summer, autumn, and spring. Okay, so we saw that before. Those are our main seasons. Now, on either side of it, this is where, you know, I get a little bit more technical with this stuff. You can have a sub-season. Okay, you can be in between seasons, and if you lean kind of one way or the other, right, you can sort of be one of these seasons where it's not like a specific winter. You're like a dark winter or a bright winter or whatever. And so you can get a little bit more granular is what I'm getting at, right? And so each season has two of these guys, right, on either side. Now, let's look at the other stuff that we notice here. We have warm, cool, right? So that's our hue that we talked about. Here's our dark and our light. So there's our value axis that we talked about. And here's our bright and our soft, right? So that's that chroma axis that we talked about there.
Right.
What we know about you. Well, all right. Let's start thinking about what we know. Well, we know that you're not bright, right? We know that you're not dark either. All right, cool. So we're taking out all this end of the spectrum here. Let's go down a little bit further. All right, we know that you're not warm either. Where's this bringing us down to? We just keep sinking down. It's like, oh, hey, look at that. You're a summer. You're definitely a summer. Now, we've taken out everything up here, so it pushes us down here. It's like, all right, cool. So you're definitely a summer. Now, let's think about which way you're going to swing here. And this is where I get a lot more granular than most people do, but this to me is very, very important. You're a summer, and it's pretty easy to see. You could probably pick that up just from looking at the palettes of like, oh, you know what, that little area, that looks pretty good, and, you know, makes sense. Now with this summer, do you lean softer or do you lean lighter? Well, like we said, with the value spectrum, yeah, you're light, but you're kind of more in the middle section. It's not, you know, super light, right?
Right.
With chroma, you're soft, right? We're pretty dang soft. We do not look good in a lot of things with sheen. We're softer. We lean over here. Okay, so you lean into this soft summer. So you can wear things that are this true summer here, which is your actual palette, or we swing into this soft summer and we say, okay, this is the subset that really, really works for you well. So none of this means anything until I show you these colors, right? But so let me show you kind of what's going on here. Soft summer, and then I'll show you the true summer too as well, just so you can kind of see it. Cool summer. All right, here are the colors. So this is like your actual summer season. Then if we go over here, you can see the soft summer, and it is, you know, softer colors in that middle spectrum, okay? Not too dark, not too light. There's some that are lighter, there's some that are darker, but most play in that middle, and they're absolutely cooler. This is the subset of colors that is gonna look best on you, right? And that's it, and we do this kind of scientifically, right? We say, all right, let's look at your face. Let's look at what's going on, and then we'll translate that into colors that work. And this is how we do it. If you wear these colors, your face is going to look a lot better. We're going to bring out your eyes, right? We're going to clear your skin. We're going to be able to hold eye contact because those colors, they're mirroring your face. They're mirroring what's going on up here, right? The closet should just look like this. If it does, you win. Now, here's the real kicker. All of this stuff, you can pair very easily. In fact, you can pair without a problem. It's all part of the same family. Let's think about it. All right. There's your pants. That's a shirt. That's a shirt. Those are pants. That's a jacket. Those are pants. That's a shirt. All pairs. It's impossible not to pair. You know why? They're all part of the same family. It's like sharing blood type, right? It's all part of the same stuff here, okay? And so you can pair anything. Here's where people call me and they're like, Patrick, I'm gonna write you a blank check to come out and see me because I have 200 things in the closet. None of it pairs together. Wife likes these colors. Guy at Nordstrom says, you know what? I think that these are cool. GQ says, you know, whatever, this is great for, you know, 2020. All right, cool. So they go out and they have all this stuff in their closet. Now try pairing this stuff together. Does it work? Not at all. You can't pair that with this. Nothing, there's no congruency at all. Nothing is making sense. And so this is why when guys have a ton of clothing and it just doesn't pair, this is what happens, right? They're doing all of this stuff. They're listening to everybody, right? Everybody other than who they should be listening to. It's not me either. It's you. this is it, right? As long as we can listen to this answer key and not go off that answer key, you're going to look good. And this is for the rest of your life. This applies, right? So we just look at what's going on here and we say, all right, cool. How do we translate that into your clothing? And the way that we do that is by wearing those colors that look best on you, which are these colors here. Okay. So that's pretty much color. So anything that's not in your color palette, that's what we want to take out, right? So we'll say, all right, go through your closet and say, hey, is there anything that's not in this palette? Then we should get rid of it because that's just not going to make you look your best. And so, you know, that's kind of the first step with color there is saying, all right, well, let's just take out the offenders and then we'll work into the good stuff, okay? Now, the other thing, I think I brought this up to you in the assessment. We talked about contrast, didn't we?
But we can review it.
Contrast is the level of difference between your hair color and your skin color.
Okay.
So here we go. Let's do this. We have a low contrast guy, or sorry, a high contrast guy here. Okay, so black hair, white skin, right?
Yep.
And then up here we have our lighter contrast guy, or sorry, lower contrast guy, right? So we have lighter hair, lighter skin. So we would say that you lean a little bit lower contrast, right? Black hair and really white skin, very high contrast. We would say you lean a little lower. Nothing crazy, but you lean lower. And so what we want to do is we, again, want to say, you'll notice a common theme here. We want to say, all right, well, you're leaning lower contrast here. We want to lean lower contrast here. Now, what this means, let's do a little exercise. I thought we did this in the assessment, but I could be mistaken. But either way, this will be good for you to review this. So this is going to be a weird little exercise, but it'll be fun. So we're going to do this. All right, so we're going to do a little staring contest with our boys here. Okay, so what we're going to do, we're going to look into this guy's eyes here. We're just going to hold eye contact with him for a little bit. Okay, so just a few seconds. Just kind of come up close and we'll stare at his eyes for a little bit.
Okay.
All right, so we'll hold eye contact. Just kind of lose yourself in his gaze a little bit, probably just another couple seconds. All right, let's bounce over here. So we're gonna do the exact same thing over here. So try to hold eye contact with him as hard as possible. Just really kind of lose yourself there. Just a few more seconds. Really just stare in there. All right, and then we're gonna bounce over here one more time. More eye contact, just a little bit more, a few more seconds. And then right over here again, one more time. What you're going to notice over here is that your eye feels really heavy, like it's being pulled downwards. Like it's kind of hard to hold eye contact with him, right? Like your eye feels like it's got a weight at the bottom of it. Jump over here. Eye feels lighter. It's a little bit easier to hold eye contact with him, right? You can sort of see into his eyes a little bit better, and his gaze is sort of mirroring yours, where it's like, oh yeah, your eye feels a little bit lighter and easy to travel. Where over here, it feels heavier, like you want to look at his outfit, right?
Right.
We don't want to do that. We want to be able to hold eye contact with him well. The reason being is because he's wearing his contrast level appropriately. He's wearing a lower contrast outfit, where over here it's a higher contrast outfit. That higher contrast is pulling our eye down. Our eye is always drawn towards contrast. So we create contrast where we need it, and we avoid contrast where we don't, right? So try to make sure you're wearing slightly lower contrast outfits, right? So we'd say, you know, in certain outfits, we want to avoid wearing things that would be, I think, you know what, I think I remember bringing it up just because I was looking at these photos and I was like, oh, there's a lot of higher contrast outfits in here. So like this would be an example of something that's very high contrast, right? Where it's like black jacket, white shirt. How would we lower that contrast level? We can do it a couple ways. We can darken the shirt, I guess, right? We could say, all right, why don't we bring that down to a light to mid blue? Right, so we'll lower that down, and then with the jacket, why don't we bring that up, right, and we'll lighten that just a bit to a maybe a medium to darker gray.
Okay.
Right? And that creates that lower contrast level. Whereas black and white is very it'll draw down, right? It'll draw down the eye, and we don't want that.
Right.
So there you go. So that's contrast, which is more of like a 102 thing, but you're at more of an advanced level. So, this is good stuff to know. And especially for my guys that are more in the public eye, this is something that I like to go over because it's pretty important. So, okay, great. So let's go into some more outfit stuff, and then we'll review that and then start talking about what we need to add in, take out, all that. Now, first off, is there anything else on coloring that you have questions about that you wanted to talk about, or does that make sense for the most part?
All makes sense.
Okay, great. So hopefully that helps you along there. The stuff here. First off, I like the way that this T-shirt fits. I think that this actually fits very well. Would you know the brand on this t-shirt?
Boss.
Okay, great. Which is a good brand for you. The t-shirt fits well. What would we say about the color though? We'd probably lighten it just a hair, don't you think?
Right.
So that's all good there. Now, a couple things to note about dressing the body. Now, you had mentioned this before. No matter how hard we try, right, this area is not a fun area for anybody, especially me. It's impossible. It's crazy. It just doesn't work out. It just doesn't want to go away. And so that's most guys, okay? And so what we need to do is we need to make sure that we draw attention away from this area, right? But look at all this. All this is good stuff up here, right? You got, you have some muscle tone through here, right? You have a nice lean figure through here, nice lean legs, things like that. All of that's good. We just have one little area that we got to kind of trim up and think about, right? So what we need to do is we need to say, all right, well, how do we make this look like the ideal male body shape, right? We're always trying to work towards the ideal male body shape, which is broader shoulders, bigger arms, things like that. Basically width up top and not width down here, right? We're trying to make our hips and all that look smaller. So ways that we do this, the easiest way is layering. Okay, this is where suit jackets come in, things like that, and why I've always told guys that suits make men look their best. Think about what a suit jacket does. Okay, it comes over.
Wide shoulders. Yep.
Why? Exactly. All right, wide shoulders, so shoulder padding through here, right? There it goes. This V with the lapels on the chest creates this nice sort of, you think about it, right? That swimmer's body shape, right, is that V, and it creates this V up towards the chest, so all good there. Where does a suit close? Right through the midsection. Right through here. And what's a suit do? It's usually a darker color too, right? So that darker color hides all that. Darker colors detract, right? Lighter colors expand. So we're darkening everything that we don't want. We're creating this nice big broad V chest with big old shoulder pads and all that. Suits have always done this for us. We, as men, we've been doing the same things. Like we know this stuff, right? We've known this stuff for quite some time, and suits have been around for a long time because of this aspect, right? So it's creating this nice chest through there. Also think about where a suit cinches in. Right, you see on the sides, it'll come through and it lays like this, right, where it'll kind of indent through here.
Right.
Now think about that. Everything cinches in, right? So we cinch in the sides, the jacket is covering our belly and all that kind of stuff, and we're broadening ourselves up here. Man, it's no wonder suits make us look our best, right? So here's the trick though. How do we do this when we're not wearing suits? We can't always wear suits. Now, I'm going to I agree with you to an extent of like, why wouldn't we always wear suits? And that's a good question. I think for when we're doing work and things like that, it's like, sure, why not, right? Why not wear a suit? I wear suits for suit's sake all the time, right? And just because it makes me feel pretty good. Here's the thing. Sometimes you have to be careful about ostracizing yourself from your in-group, okay? And what I mean by that is I have those, I told you, Silicon Valley clients, right? Guys in Seattle that are like, you know what, I'm really getting into this now. I think that I want to start dressing up every day and wearing suits and that kind of stuff. I'm like, that's great. The problem is that your flip-flop wearing coworkers, right, are going to think that you're, for lack of a better word, a dick, right? They're going to be like, this guy doesn't understand. It's like going to a barbecue in a tuxedo. You show up, yeah, you look good, but you don't understand social cues. You don't understand context. And that's the problem. What guys need to understand is that there's a way to be well-dressed at every single level. Barbecue on a Sunday, absolutely a great way to look good. You know, going to a date sort of in the middle, happy hour, way to look good. Going to work, way to look good. No matter where you fall on the spectrum. Formality doesn't equal looking good, right? A lot of guys think it does. They're like, I'm just going to wear a suit. Well, if the suit is terrible, it's terrible fitting for you. You don't know what colors you're doing. It's going to look terrible, right? So there's ways to be well-dressed at every point in the spectrum. One way to do that I want you to start working on and thinking about is that you always want to be like one notch above everybody else. Okay, so like, let's say you and I are going to this Sunday barbecue. Rather than saying, all right, you know what, I'm going to wear something really high on the formality scale, what we're going to do is we're going to think about everything that they're wearing, okay, every guy there, and we're going to go, boom, and we're going to jump up one little notch. We're going to say, okay, you know what we're going to do? Everyone there's wearing a t-shirt, we're going to wear a polo. Everyone's wearing a polo, we're going to wear an untucked button down. Everyone's doing that, we're going to layer it with like a nice little jacket on top or whatever, and we're going to wear pants. You always just go up one level to where everybody else, it's unperceptibly better, right? No one's going to be like, you're not going to walk in a room and people are going to be like, what is this guy thinking, right? Like, come on, guy, seriously? You're just going up one notch to where it's like, oh, wow, he looks good. He looks nice today. And that's it. We don't want people to do anything other than that than be like, oh, looks good. That's it. And then we're done. All right. And so that's how we need to start approaching this. Now, we're going to circle all the way back. How do we do this without wearing suits? Well, layering. If you think about what I'm wearing today, this is just a nice sort of lightweight overshirt. What I can do with this, I can button the center, okay? If I wanted to get crazy with it, I can button the center, okay? What does this do? Look at that. Creates this nice V. This collar expands my neck, right? This makes me look bigger up here. These pockets give me more presence. What does this do down here? Well, it cinches in at the waist, right? It sort of comes in like this, and it creates a very nice silhouette. Even if I had this unbuttoned, same thing. What we're hiding, all of this through here, this jacket hangs from the shoulders, okay? So it's gonna hide that curvature right there because it's gonna hang straight down and cover it. Same thing from the side. You ever look at yourself from the side and you see sometimes that belly will stick out a little bit, right? Think about a way that a jacket hangs. It hangs straight down. It's going to cover all of that protrusion out. Okay. And so layering is just it's also like the secret sauce of menswear, right? If you look at most guys and style icons and things like that, all they're doing is wearing a t-shirt and a jacket over it. And this creates a very, very good style thing for you where we can just make it very easy. We're just going to wear a lot of t-shirts and things like that. For casual items, we're going to wear t-shirts and things like that, and then we can throw just a jacket, like a nice sort of upscale jacket over it. This could even be a blazer, right? Something like that where we're making your body look good, and we're also communicating that we have a little bit more style as well. So there we go. Okay, so moving on. I like the loafers. I think that those are good. Do you like the loafers, or is this something that you're into?
Love it. I probably wear them
Cool.
95% of the time.
Awesome, cool. No reason not to double down on that, and I think that that's a good thing for you. When the investor entrepreneur kind of thing, where to me, you are a guy who this suits you, right? I think the loafers they're professional, but they have just a teeny little bit of something to them, right? We could wear dress shoes or we could wear loafers. It's the same thing, right? In terms of you can dress loafers up quite a bit. You could wear a full suit with loafers, but you can also do this. And it gives you a lot of in between. There's a couple shoes that do that. Loafers and boots are both two of those shoes that give you a lot of play, a lot of leeway. For you, we're simplifying things down. Why don't we go with shoes that can play many different roles, right? So there we go. Loafers and boots would do that. Jeans look pretty good. I would say that they're erring on the side of a touch too tight, just a bit, and mainly through here. Through the calf, they look pretty good. I would just be concerned that, especially with overwashing and things like that, that they might get a little too tight. You have a nice lean figure, so we don't want anything, or basically, so you can get away with this. But again, we don't want anything that's too far out there. I think that this is a fine pair, but I would be cautious about it going any tighter than that. Again, this is something where we don't want to make you look like you're trying to look younger than you are, right? That's a thing. That's a concern. You're you're an important figure for a lot of people, and we need you to reflect that you're great, you're okay with your maturity and your age. You're a younger guy, right, in terms of all this stuff, and you look younger, which is great. But we still at the same time don't want people to think that you are trying to be younger. That's the main thing that I'm getting at, right? Jeans, make them look like this. This is a great example of what sort of jeans should look like. I would throw a little bit more of a taper down at the bottom for you, but here's what I'm going to get at. These jeans through the thigh, I can take a little pinch of fabric from anywhere on that thigh, right? But they're still slim, right? They're lean all the way through, right? And so that's what we want. Now down here, again, I would probably add a little bit more of a taper, but through here, this is what we want this to look like. You should have just enough breathing room to where things look pretty good and not overly tight. So I would just be a little concerned with that through there. Are these AG?
Those are AG.
Okay, cool. AG is a great brand. I'm going to give you a couple others to explore. I think you'd like, AG, I'm fine with you if you keep shopping there, but Rag & Bone, Page, and 7 for All Mankind are three other great great brands for jeans.
It'll be on the PDF.
It'll be on the PDF. And another thing too, you're going to get this, and I forgot to mention this. You're going to get this thing. So I wrote this ebook. And this is going to help you shop, and if you just read through it, it's a pretty quick read, but it gives you a lot of just really helpful tips. At the end though, what I did is this took me a long time to put together, but over the years, I've compiled a brand list of brands that I regularly pull from, higher quality, and I've been able to keep track of price points. Let's say we need shoes. Cool. Here we go, right? Where we'll pick our price point, right? And then we choose what we need for shoes, jewelry, jeans, same thing. All right. So, okay, we have nothing to spend. Sure. Levi's are unbranded, right? Might even throw, Lucky in there maybe, right? But Levi's are great. They invented jeans. Quality is fantastic. They're not comfortable, right? But they're good jeans. Let's go up a bit. AG, Page, Frame, Rag and Bone, Nudie, 7 for All Mankind, Diesel, J Brand, Naked Famous, APC, and 316. Cool. We're kind of in this price point. I would say that this is about $100 to $200 through here, and then up here is probably $250, $350, sort of around there, right? And unless you're like a denim head, there's no reason to kind of go through here. This stuff is great. So, you know, all options to explore through here. I do like AG because they have a lot of different fits and variations, so you can get pretty detailed, but so does 7 for All Mankind. So I think that you would like them quite a bit. The hem on this looks really good. I did want to come down here and talk about the hem on these guys. So these, I would say, these are a touch long. There's a big difference between these pants, isn't there? That one to this is like, whoa, what happened, right? What we need to do is we just need to decide on sort of one fit that can stretch you across multiple boundaries. And so what's the deal with these jeans? Are they longer than these ones? Did you have these ones tailored? Walk me through this a little bit so I understand things.
So the top ones are AG. The bottom ones are Citizens of Humanity. I just actually got those about a month ago, so they just need to be hemmed.
They need to be hemmed, but they also need to be tapered. One thing that you're going to notice, okay, so if we hem these, that's all good and fine, but most jeans have a little bit of a taper naturally built in. Taper is just, as we come down, right, they get a little slimmer near the ankle, because this looks good. I mean, this is the way that it should be, because there's no reason that your ankle should be as big as your thigh. That doesn't make sense, right? And so naturally, again, thinking about silhouettes and the body type, right, we're trying to do that. All right, here's the deal. So when you have a tapered pant like this, what happens when we cut it here? Wow, all right, that opening becomes quite wide. And so what you need to do is then re-taper the jeans. And so for most things, we want to add both a hem and a taper. And for these, you would kind of do that anyway, because it doesn't look like there's too much of a taper to begin with. I would come up at least 2 inches on that, right? What we need to do, all your pants, I would say, should be around a quarter break, maybe no break if you want to steer a little bit more modern. Let me show you what I'm talking about here. So like this guy here. So a quarter break is, a quarter break is pretty standard. You're going to be okay with that kind of through multiple different scenarios. It's pretty age appropriate too as well. No break, a little bit more fashionable, but that's okay. It means you can do it. What I wouldn't do is any of like the ankle looks that you see a lot of kids doing these days, right? Any of that. I would go for more of like.
Can we talk about that? Because I noticed my son watches The Bachelor with his girlfriend.
Yeah.
And all the looks where they were way out. It was like high water pants.
Yeah, I know. Which
so
is
that
also too. When you threw this folder together, I was like, why are there bachelorette photos in here? And I mean, like, I obviously did some deductive reasoning, and I was like, okay, this makes sense. But this is like this, right? Like
exactly. So that was kind of the shock to me. I'm like, wow, is this the new style that I should be wearing? But you're saying that's more of a younger look.
It is, and it's also the problem with this is that you can't have all your pants like this, because this is a terrible look, by the way, because the only time that you really want to do this is when you have lower cut shoes, right? So like loafers or something, that way you can see the ankle, because now it looks like he's got like weird little booties, and also this shortens the leg. When we see this on the side, we're always trying to make the leg look a little longer, right? So we look taller and we have leaner legs. Imagine if that pant, right, came down to where it should. We'll even go with a no break, so like right around there, right? Think about that. Okay, that adds another inch or so to the leg and actually makes it look longer and leaner. You can see this. If we look up and down the leg, it's like, oh yeah, that looks pretty good, right? That looks nice, long, and lean. Here he looks stubby and kind of short. So I wouldn't have styled this like this, but this is sort of a newer style. But I definitely wouldn't have done it with boots. So anyway, with these pants, this is something that, I mean, I'll do occasionally, but I'm always wearing it with no show socks, and I'm usually doing it with like loafers or like a very low profile sneaker. But you have to keep separate pants like this, because there's no way in hell that I'm meeting somebody like if I have a client who's 70 in investment banking or something, who's very stodgy and sort of by the book. If I show up like this, it's not going to go over well, right? That's not sort of the perception. This looks good for certain things. If we want to have more play, if we want to have more range, right? We get items that can go up or down. If I say, hey, you know what, Derek, why don't we get 2 pairs of pants that are like this, that are shorter cut? It's like, yeah, we could, but you're not going to have a lot of range, right? They can only be for one occasion. And so for us, I would say that maybe we say, let's take a step back. Let's try to grab that foundation first. Let's try to have items that have range. That way you can just pick and pull stuff and it doesn't really matter, okay? Same thing with color. It's like, yeah, we could get experimental with color. We can get you pink pants if you want. No range, right? We're going to have it for one occasion. and then they're going to go back in the closet, and that's it. And this, I see guys do this all the time. They're like, I need something cool. I need something that's kind of fun and out there. I'm susceptible to it, right? I got to kick myself in the butt sometimes and be like, hey man, stop. Like, what are you doing? You know that you're going to wear that once and it's going to go away. For you, think about range. I would probably avoid doing this. And I would say, let's go for something, you know, towards a quarter break. If you want to lean a touch more modern, no break, but that's still on the shoe, right? That's just, you know, that's hitting the shoe, but giving you a little less. So it is just a touch more modern. I would steer away from the ankle looks for right now. Okay.
Okay.
While we're here, why don't we talk about this? What else through here is it that sort of stood out to you?
So what was interesting about this show, I mean, essentially you've got a team of people on a national TV show that's basically stylists that's styling these guys what they think it looks best and also is the modern trend. So I just threw those in there because I'm like, hey, there's probably, I can't think of anything much better than, you know, something that everybody's watching, that women think these guys are just look great and are, you know, so handsome. Mm-hmm. So I decided to throw some of these pictures in here. This guy, actually both my son and I love this image 1685 and 1686. That look, you were asking, you know, style icons. Mm-hmm. I love that. That looked really, really good to me.
Okay. What would we do with color with this? Right? We would change this a little bit. We would do that. I like the detail through here, right? Like this has, you know, I mean, basically he's wearing, it looks like a Shaw collared like tuxedo jacket, right? And so, I mean, that's, yeah, but it's a little bit more flashy, right? I think it's good, but we would change, you know, we would change up some coloring and things like that, right? And you know, we have to keep in mind like what works well for you. And then, so what you do is you take this and then you translate it. It's kind of like hairstyle too, right? We say, all right, cool. Well, you know, you can't, a lot of guys will come, you know, the stylist that I work with, he or she will say things like, guys will bring a picture of Brad Pitt and be like, all right, well, make me look like this, you know? And it's like, no, well, you have, you know, a receding hairline and your hair's a lot different and your texture's a lot different. You got this weird bump in your head. All we do is take stuff and we adapt it, right? So we say, all right, if you like this, let's pull the elements, right? Let's deconstruct it and then adapt it for you. So we would change the coloring a little bit. We change the fit a little bit, right? And that's how you do it. And so you just take those elements and you think about, okay, how do we translate this over? And again, this is where I think that like, you know, we could spend some more time with personal style, really dissecting that out. And that's what I would like to do in the future. But right now, what we're doing is we're handling this little stuff of like, okay, let's build this foundation. Let's build that stuff to make it really easy. Let's dress your body appropriately. Let's learn the coloring and all of that, right? So now we're taking care of stuff like this, because if we have discrepancies between this and that, we're losing range, right? We need to take care of this stuff first before we get to have a lot of fun with tuxedo jackets and stuff like that. Right. Okay, so there's that. The hem and taper, easy does it. Now, this shirt looks pretty good. I would say it's a little bit big for you though. I would say that it's coming down a little long for you through here. Generally, we want to see that land right about there because we like to see that you have a groin. We don't like to see that, you know, it's like a box with two sticks coming out of it. We don't like that, right? We want to see a little bit there, and that also will elongate your legs a little bit more. I see guys do this all the time. They're going to wear untucked shirts kind of through there. What happens? Shortens your leg line, right? It makes you look kind of stubby. We don't like that, right? So come up a little bit more towards the top here. And then with the shirt itself, this looks nice. It looks like you have, there's probably, I don't know if you had this tailored or what the situation is with
that's the shirt. That's the way it comes.
Looks pretty good. You can tell that it's cut out through here. It looks like there's even a dart through here, which is, you don't see that a lot. So yeah, so I think that's good. I would, you know, trim up the sleeves just a little bit. But overall, not a bad looking shirt. I think this is good. I would probably just wear this more tucked in than untucked, being honest there.
Okay.
This I don't like. This is something that I think is, I don't think it works for you from a color perspective. I don't think it works for you from a fit perspective. This just looks strange to me. Okay. So, you know, these camp collar shirts like this, a little bit more in style, but sort of. I mean, okay, so let's first focus on this. You know, we see the midsection. It's like, whoa, what's going on? You do not look like this, right? This is making you look a lot worse than you are. And clothing should always make you look better, or at least just stay the same. If it's making you look worse, it's like, what are we doing? Clothing, generally, sleeves should be right about here. We always kind of want to come up a little bit on those sleeves because we want to see some bicep, right? We want to see all that. So anyway, so this is, I'm not a fan of the coloring. Yeah, I would say that, to be honest, this is something that I might take out for you. I think that the pattern and everything too is a little bit distracting for what's going on up here. There's not a lot of congruency. So yeah, so just being honest, I don't think that this shirt works very well for you. And it's, one thing that is interesting about your closet is we have pieces like this, but we still don't have a lot of foundational items built out, right? And so we need some of those core pieces to then start playing on top. You know, it's like you don't build the rooftop pool before you build the actual building. And so it's like, let's focus on some of that first. So I would personally take this out. I think the jeans are pretty good, but they could use a little bit of a hem as well. What was it? 30s. Okay, so waist and inseam size too. So I think on the questionnaire we had 34, 36 was the
Yes.
the inseam. Okay, I would say that's a touch long for you. If this is 36, I would come to a 34. Okay, to see kind of what that's like there, because same thing here. Do you know if you bought these and they're 36 or 34 or?
I'd have to check.
That's
I'm not
fine.
sure.
Yeah, but either way, just come up 2 inches, because that way that'll save us some tailoring. You know, and we'll get them kind of right in the future. For reference, I mean, I'm 6'1" and I wear size 30 inseam, but I carry a lot of height in my torso. I have an extra long torso. So a lot of it is where you carry your height. But generally speaking, like that's a little long. And most of the pants that we're seeing need to come up just a bit anyway. But the way that you're doing this, I really, really like. Do you have no-show socks for the loafers, or do you just wear them kind of just normally, you know, how does that work?
Generally, I wear them with like some dark socks.
Cool.
I haven't found. I don't know. I guess I could find some no-show socks. I just haven't found any that really work.
Okay. Work in terms of.
They always seem to show, and then it just looks stupid, in my opinion.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I mean, a lot of times
I'd almost rather wear no socks than to wear the no-shows.
Yeah, and historically, I mean, like you're supposed to do that. I just, you know, to me, I will walk around quite a bit, right? And so wearing socks is just better. The best ones that I've found are Bombas. They are, let's go in here. They're a little bit more Bombas socks. They're a little bit pricey, but nothing terrible. I mean, they also, if you lose a sock or if you rip one or whatever, they have like a lifetime guarantee. You just email them and like, hey man, a washer ate my sock, and they're like, all right, cool, we'll send you another one. Kind of interesting how that works, but anyway, they hide really well and they stay up very well too. So Bombas is where you would get those guys. Okay, so moving on here. So we'll just cover the rest of this. Do you have another like 15 minutes to stay over or so, or we can?
I do. I'm going to have to push a meeting though, so it'll take me 2 seconds to do that.
That's fine. Sure.
All right, I am ready to keep going.
Beautiful. All right, so we're just going to wrap up on some of this, the fit stuff, because a lot of it is we're seeing the same kind of stuff, you know. A lot of it had to do with pants and things like that. We'll just create the same pants. We'll decide, okay, somewhere between a no break and that, and we'll say, you know, fit is going to be kind of the same. I would vote for something, you know, more towards the slimmer side of things. Like I think that we could get by with this, right? What I want to be able to do is just dress up jeans. I want to be able to say, okay, you know what, we can wear a sport coat on top of this and it looks good, or we could wear a t-shirt and it looks good. Let's talk about some body stuff here. So again, midsection, you know, you don't look like this, right? This is not who you are. It's interesting to think about, right? But like, okay, we have a lot of this through here, right? We have some of this showing through here. So this shirt could use some tailoring, but again, how do we get rid of all this? Oof, little jacket, right? Even we'll cinch it in, right? Okay,
Yep.
Now we've lost all of this dumb wrinkling and pulling and all that weird little flop through here, this little muffin top thing that's going on. All of that, right, is gone. So I'm trying to emphasize how important layering is, and it really is. Now, in the meantime, what we can do is something called the military tuck. And this is a way to tuck in your shirt to not get this extra fabric going. Ideally, you tailor it, but the military tuck is a great option, as well as this, which is we can... I'll show you this, and some guys are like, that's a little funky. They're called shirt stays, and they are an interesting little thing. Basically, they'll attach either underneath onto your thighs or down to your socks or something like that, right? And they keep your shirt tucked in nice and tight. Now, these look a little funky, so if I ever wear these, it's when I'm dressing things up and I'm not planning on being intimate for a long time, right? Because this is definitely something that if somebody, if my girlfriend saw me with these, I would never hear the end of it, right? So, but it is very useful because it just gets rid of all that, bang, just tightens them up. So it's good to have a pair just to, try them out, see if you like them. Same thing with the military tuck there. Everything down here looks good. I like the shoes. I like the pants. I like the belt. I think all of this works. Generally speaking, what you're going to do to simplify things, keep this dark. Everything down here, darker, okay, especially pants, things like that. Up top, we can have a little bit more fun. Think about the bottom as sort of your base. The more stuff we try to add in terms of color, pattern, all that, the harder things are to pair, okay? Think about a shirt with, some check pattern to it. Okay, in that pattern, there's generally 3 different colors to that pattern, right? We got the cross one, we got the one going down, we got the core level of the shirt. What we then have to do is pair all those colors with whatever else is going on. It becomes very, very difficult. The less color you have, the more your life is going to just become very easy. And same thing with pattern. We have to then gauge the gauge of the pattern, right? Is it wide? Is it narrow? Or these crosses? And we can't, have too much going on. So we try to limit that as well, just to keep things kind of moving. Now, for you, I do think that you actually like a little bit of that flash, just a teeny little bit of it. What we can do there, okay, keep one item flashy, okay? The rest of it, supporting elements. Supporting elements, they do their thing. So for you, like if what you were wearing today, I would make that jacket maybe a little bit more interesting, or I would add a pocket square or something like that. I think what you're wearing today looks great, but it's the shirt is kind of staple, right? Great. It's a supporting piece. It's doing its thing. Hey, there he is, right? So you know what I'm saying? It's what we're doing is, this is what I want to circle back to, supporting pieces and a core wardrobe. You don't create the most interesting elements first. We get the boring stuff first. And a lot of guys hate that, right? Because it's hard to walk into a store and get a plain white shirt because it feels boring as hell, right? It's just not exciting. I don't like doing it. And so, but those elements support things that are a little bit more exciting. So when you're putting together outfits, try to keep things simple and then have one statement piece, one pop piece, and that can keep things interesting. And what that's going to look like for you is probably going to be jackets, sport coats, lightweight shirts like this, whatever it is, layering pieces that we can use because we're already using that for your body type anyway. Why not keep that interesting? This stuff through here will keep plain and simple. So no crazy t-shirts, nothing like that, just very, very simple stuff through here. And then we'll use the stuff out here, pocket squares, jackets, those kind of things to add elements of interest. That's what I would do there, okay?
What is the military tuck you're referring to?
Military tuck is, you can just look it up on YouTube. Tuck. But it's basically a way that you pinch fabric, okay, the excess fabric on the shirt, you fold it over and then you tuck it in. And that creates sort of on the fly tailoring, if you will. But you're gonna, you'll see how this kind of works here a little bit. Let's see if we can bring this up. That excess fabric, you sort of fold it over itself, right? Like you pinch that, the way that you'll do it is you can kind of stand to your sides, you take that excess fabric, you pull it back, and then you tuck it into your shirt, and it creates that little seam right there, right? It is the really kind of ghetto rigging of the tailoring aspect of this, right? But it works, and so the shirt stays are a better option, tailoring is a better option, but on the fly, it's nice. Okay, so with these shirts, like we'll just get some new ones of these. The sleeves are a little bit long on this shirt too as well. We don't like seeing all of this, right? Anytime there's bunching, bagging, all that kind of stuff, it doesn't look good. And it'll make you look a little bit more stubby. It's the same thing down here. If we have a bunch of baggage through here, it looks like your legs are too short to fill out the pants, which you're not. You're a tall guy. Let's lean into that, right? We need to make people visualize that. And then through here, it's the same deal, right? So same thing going on there. But this can be fixed through tailoring. Okay. And so what I was getting at is, you look at something like this, all right, we'll just kind of absorb that body there and absorb this. And it's like, whoa, that's a lot different, right? And so for you, to be honest, a lot of times untucked shirts are looking a lot better for you than the tucked in stuff does, okay? And so ways that we can do this, right? We don't have to wear dress shirts all the time. Think about it, what else you can put underneath a sport coat. Put a t-shirt, we can put a polo, we could put a sweater, right? Tons of options for underneath what you could put there. So it doesn't have to be so traditional. experiment around a little bit. This also gives you a chance to be a little bit more exciting. Most guys do this. Most guys do collared shirt, right? Or just a standard, dress shirt and a blazer. We want to be a little bit more interesting. We want to show that dimension a little bit. We work outside of that. But anyway, for what it's worth, this looks really good to me. I think that for a good casual outfit, this looks fantastic. This is great stuff. The shirt fits you very well. The color looks good. The biceps are hitting you right. We've lost all of the midsection issues, right? Like, I mean, again, it's like that. To me, this was nuts. Just looking at this and then going here, I'm like, wow. It's a night and day difference, and because you're allowing the fabric to travel and hang down. Most of the time, I would try to get more untucked stuff, and tuck it in where we need to. When we're tucking it in, we're going to make sure it's nice and neat and tailored, right? We're going to be pulling down with shirt stays, military tuck, whatever. And then we're going to be usually closing jackets or at least wearing some sort of layering piece that comes over, okay? And that's pretty much it. So that's kind of just some thoughts on dressing your body. So with the remaining time, let's talk a little bit about what we're going to add in. Now, this is stuff that is going to kind of set you up for, your baseline level stuff. And I'm going to introduce you to some brands, but this will all be in your PDF too as well. And honestly, it would be really nice to do, another like half hour, something just to kind of, what I want to do is be able to sort of pair together the outfits. But what I want you to do is make some movement on this list first. I want to say, okay, let's get some of this tailoring done. Let's take out stuff that's not in your color. Get a move on things that we've discussed today. And then when we have the clay to actually make a statue, that's when we'll start building things, right? But we can't do that right now. So we'll focus on what we need to add in. All right. And so coming back through here, introduce you to some stuff. You know what? Let's start with the most fun. So I'll get rid of this. Let's go. All right. Now, if there's one brand that kind of stuck out to me for you, it was Suit Supply. Have you heard of these guys before?
Have not.
Fantastic off-the-rack stuff. Jackets. Fun, quote unquote, exciting sort of jackets in the sense that like this doesn't look like a Brooks Brothers Wall Street suit. Right? This is something that's like, hey, you know what? That's kind of fun. Oh, look. And also, what are we talking about before of like, what can we put underneath the jacket? Bang, bang. Those aren't shirts, right? Those aren't collared shirts. Here's a t-shirt. Here's a sweater. We just went over all this stuff. I bet we scroll down for enough, we can find a polo in here, right? Like it's, the stuff, the elements that we're working through here, it's like, oh yeah, okay, cool. You can see that all of these here, there's a Henley, right? We can see, oh yeah, all of these elements here, these are not your granddad's jackets. These are like, okay, these are nice. These are fun. See the peak lapels in there, the slimmer cut. These will be perfect for you. So I would grab a couple of these. Now, the really cool thing about these two, and I know you live in Florida, they are lightweight, very lightweight, especially the stuff that's right now. So we are in a transition point where things are, we're transitioning into fall. So we're seeing things with like a lot of sweaters and stuff like that. But this stuff through here, I want to show you kind of you can see the fabrics and things too. But if we should be able to sort by fit or whatever. I'll kind of look through here and when I throw it in your PDF, but the idea is all of these are a little bit more unstructured. All of these are unlined or at least half lined, right? So they're just great to wear. I mean, he was wearing it with shorts for God's sake, it's like spring and summer temperatures. There we go, right? Things like that. Breathable fabric. This is all nice stuff. This is all great stuff that like works very, very well. So you can see too, it's like, oh yeah, that's got like a nice weave to it. Look, you can see through the back of that. Do you see that right there? That's going to keep you nice and cool. Stuff like this is what we need. So a couple of these guys, this is what we can wear with jeans, dress trousers if we need to, all of that stuff. Okay. So I would get this one in particular and just say, okay, cool. Well, there we go. We'll have a couple of these to play with, but you get what I'm saying in terms of the overall look and feel, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
Beautiful. Okay. Shoe wise, let's jump into that a little bit. So we wanted to go through here. Cheers. So you have a decent amount of shoes. There's some stuff that I wanted you to take out and a few things that I want you to add in. I think a lot of what you have is great. Like I said, I love the loafers. I love the Chelsea boots over there. I think there's a lot of good stuff. These ones I was a little confused about. I didn't know if you wore those a lot. Those are the kind of studded ones or whatever.
Yeah.
Do you like those?
Actually, there's a couple outfits. Like when I go out to Vegas or I'm going out for a party night, yeah, I will wear them and I do like them.
Awesome. Cool. All right, good. So loafers are good there. I would probably take out the deck shoes right here. Any form of driver will look better for this. This is the college age equivalent of a driver, right? So we got to graduate sort of past that, and we use stuff like this instead, right? Because you like it better anyway. It looks better, right? Imagine the jeans with this at the bottom, and then imagine them with this at the bottom. Completely different, right?
Yep.
Magnani or Two Boot New York make some great drivers, right? So we'll just do that. But we want to step up with the loafers too as well. So I think that adding another pair of those. How often do you wear these guys right here?
I do wear them, not that often though, because because they're almost like a suede type of fabric, they get easily torn up fast. So I tend to wear it if I've got a dressier event or something that I'm not going to be going out golfing in or something like that.
Right. Perfect. Okay. I still like them. I think that we should keep them. So, and then I wanted to get rid of these guys here, and I'm kind of on the fence about these guys too as well. They're dressier sort of sneakers, but we can get stuff that looks a little bit better. These ones we want to take out too as well. We don't like any branding or logos. We'll just do like a regular white one. These guys are all good here. Pumas I want to take out. These guys I want to take out. And what we need is just plain black and white leather sneakers. That's it, right? That'll play the same role, but you can dress them up. The thing with black and white leather sneakers, I'm going to just go out on a limb here. I bet if I click on some of these guys here, this is going to take a while to load, so maybe I shouldn't be boasting. Usually, generally at the bottom, they'll have just like a white leather sneaker like that, right? White leather you can pair with a suit. Canvas, it's a little bit harder. Things like that, so you can do a lot with those. I would probably just step up in that realm to like a good sort of plain white leather. Those are, kind of like the drivers that we were talking about, right? Something like that. So where we would go for that, you have common projects, which are good. Koyo, black, sure. Koyo is usually the best one for that. I spelled kiwi. Koyo, please. Like a black low top, like these guys right here, right? Same thing with the white. Okay, just a clean, nice white leather.
Yep.
That's it. All right. So we'll add those in, and then basically we don't like shoes that can't play like a lot of, we want to be able to have stuff that you can just easily throw on. Now with the white sneakers, think about it. We can put that at the bottom of a suit like we saw, or we can put that at the bottom of shorts and a t-shirt, and it works really well. We can't do the same with stuff like this. So, but outside of that, things are looking good. What else I want to add? I want to add a couple boots. We talked about in-between pieces. There's dress shoes and sneakers. What falls in between? Loafers and boots, right? That's sort of your middle ground. I call that more dating attire. I like to say, boots especially, they give sort of a masculine presence in a certain element like that, right? Richard Branson wears boots quite a bit, right? You mentioned, guys like, if we look in your style icons too, right? So we'll go in here really quick. Like even with Robert Downey, right? And so like when we had him, his character, but also him, right, wears a lot of boots. And so it's just sort of a more rugged-esque thing. Think about these two outfits right here. We see leather, right? Those are sort of more rugged, masculine, adventurous elements that maybe we should work in if you do want to sort of chase this sort of style, right? You even put this quote in here from Richard Branson, right? It's like, oh yeah, more of an adventurer, more of somebody who's a little out there, and boots are great for that, as well as adding that sort of masculinity. So, are you a fan of the Chelsea boots? Because I think they're a good look for you.
Oh, I love them. Yeah,
I wear those. I mean, they're great because they're easy to wear, right? Like,
go with anything.
Exactly. Nani. Two Boot New York, and then we have a lot of tabs open, so I might start to.
Pretty sure those ones that are pictured there are Two Boot.
Awesome. And then the other one was Meerman. So there's a lot of good places to get shoes. To be honest, and pretty much anything in your guide, because we're not really concerned about fit. With certain brands, it's like, all right, if I told you to go get a Brooks Brothers polo, it's probably not going to fit you very well because you're a slimmer guy, right? With shoes, it's like, all right, well, you're a size 12, right? So shoes, it's like you just make sure that you get stuff that kind of reflects things. Magnani's a really good one for you because Magnani always has a little bit of that sort of element of dressing things up a little bit. There's just a little bit more of a style to it. I mean, we're at Nordstrom Rack, but the idea is they have they'll have like some of this like little bit of a patina to them, things like that make it look really good. Most of your shoes, honestly, I would say should come from Magnani because they'll give you that little bit of panache that we like quite a bit there. So anyway, so I would add in another pair of Chelsea boots. And I think that would keep things clean. And I would do that like medium brown, right?
Okay.
Something around that realm there. So yeah. So, and you can kind of see that with these, like the leather just looks very clean and sort of dressy, right? That's it.
Yep.
All right, great. So, that's 4 pairs of shoes or so. And then with the drivers, we have enough, but I mean, I would consider maybe adding in another pair of drivers too. The other thing that I would consider adding in, you can dress up the Chelsea boots. You can dress up those loafers, those suede loafers that you had, but we could do another pair of dress shoes. Now, these to me are like not you, right? They don't really speak to your style or anything like that. What I was thinking of for you was more of a, like this. Have you seen these, the double monks before? Like these guys?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, those are cool. I would try that.
The idea behind these is like, it's a dress shoe, but it's something different, right? It's like, oh yeah, that's like a little bit more stylish. That's something that's like you don't see all the time, right? It's not
Right.
just a regular derby or an Oxford. It's like, oh yeah, that's kind of nice. So something like this. That way you could have them and you could dress them up a little bit. These are a little harder to do with, jeans and stuff rather than boots and whatnot, but they're definitely better than like an Oxford or a derby. Okay, moving on. So like we talked about some of those layering pieces and things like that, right? So Theory and Reese are 2 of these places that, man, this stuff would fit you well. So if we talk about even, okay, the leather jacket that we saw from Robert Downey Jr. and Richard Branson, it kind of looks like that, doesn't it? There we go. Nice slim looking jacket. There it is. This stuff fits guys like you very, very well. You see like jackets like this, right? In terms of layering pieces, it's like, this is it. We could go crazy here and have quite a bit of fun. So I wanted to get like 2 like quote unquote layering piece jackets. So something like this, right? And then I also wanted to get you a coat possibly. Now my question on the coat was how often you would use it, right? So if it was something that you could get away with, I think that it would be a nice look for you, but you tell me, is it something that you could do quite a bit of, like a top coat, something similar to like this or this?
No.
This? Okay, there you go. So we'll just kind of go with more of the lighter weight layering pieces and things like that. Does that work? Okay,
that
great.
works.
Cool. So stuff like this, so more of the trucker jackets and things like that. You can tell it's like, yeah, these are not like, they're not going to heat you up, right? They're like, yeah, they're just teeny little jackets and stuff. So those layering pieces are kind of your secret sauce. So when you're not wearing the sport coats and things like that, we'll wear more of the casual jackets and stuff like that. Okay, a couple other things. So polos and untucked shirts and things like that. What's your polo situation like right now?
Very few.
Okay.
Maybe 2 or 3.
Okay. Both Reese and Theory, which is this brand right here, will have some of that for you that fit pretty slim. Theory is a little bit more fashionable, but the same idea. Nice, really good core pieces. And so will Suit Supply. All those brands are going to fit you very nice and slimly. Now, for untucked shirts and things like that and just regular shirts, in terms of dress shirts, you almost can't beat these guys. They're beautiful dress shirts, right? So these are their super slim fit shirts, which very, very tapered, which is what you need, and will be slimmer through the arms.
Mm-hmm.
This is kind of what we need through here. And so again, before we do this, we go for core pieces, right? So let's see, remember contrast too. So instead of a lot of white, why don't we go for more of these blues, okay? So we'll go for blues like this, things like that are in that mid blue kind of section, lighter blue section, because that way, even if you're wearing the jacket that you are right now, we've lowered that contrast level just a little bit, okay? All right, now untucked shirts. Now this is a little bit, no, untucked, there we go. This store is great in terms of casual items. You can get quite a bit here. There we go. All right, come on. So one of the things that we like about this, we'll have to go to a different section. You can get very detailed with your fit, extremely detailed with your fit on pants, on shorts, on anything, t-shirts. Let's just take, for example, by the way, all these short sleeve shirts, short sleeve shirts in general for you, I would rather see you go for long sleeve shirts. Short sleeve shirts generally will make your arms like look a little thinner than they actually are. And there we go, wash button down. they're to make them look thinner. You can't do as much with them either. You can always roll down a full length shirt, right? Put a jacket
Right.
over it, whatever. Rolling up the sleeves will always look better. Short sleeve shirts are a little bit of a newer item, right? Somebody was like, hey, why don't we just cut the sleeves off this thing like 60 years ago? And that's how we ended up with them. Hardcore menswear traditionalists won't even wear them. I'm not like that. I just think that you actually look better in these. These are a little bit more mature. They speak more to your personality. I would take somebody more seriously with this, with the sleeves rolled up, than I would with the, the short sleeve button down shirt. Okay?
Right.
Now here's where we get kind of interesting with this. All of our sizing, okay? So we have our sizing here. We have our fit. Look at all these different fits. Tailored, slim, standard, athletic. I'm guessing you would be our tailored, which is the narrowest fit, but I would like you to test it. This store has a great return policy. They ship it to you. They have the sticker in the bag. If you don't like it, you reseal the bag, you put the sticker on, and you throw it in your mailbox, and that's it, right? So we get a little testy with some of these things. Tailored fit, shirt length. Here's where we can get a little bit interesting too, right? We can say short or regular, right? So you might end up needing a short. I would start with the regular. One thing that you're going to notice about this shirt, that's straighter hem, right? That's what we like to see on untucked shirts. It's going to rise higher rather than sinking below and cutting you off the legs like we saw on the last shirt. Okay, so stuff like this. What are we going to do? All right, we'll do another blue, right? We could even do like this green would look pretty good for you too. This is in your color palette. Notice the softer coloring through here, right? All that stuff's good. All right. So I would probably get one of these to start just to try it out, see what you think, and then we'll move on more if you like it, right? Okay. So boots, trucker jacket, to the layering pieces. So and then t-shirts, I like the ones that you had from Boss. I think those are good. I think we could actually double down on some of those if you want. They seem to fit you really well. I think that there's no reason that we shouldn't keep going on that. Okay.
Okay.
The last thing I kind of wanted to run by you was a waistcoat, which is something that's just a little bit different, right? Something that gives you a bit of interest. Now, one thing that's cool about these guys is we can take those these jackets, like we were just looking at Suit Supply. We can throw a waistcoat on top of that, something like this, and make that look a little bit interesting. You can take a very boring outfit, a white shirt and black jacket or blue, navy blue, right, traditional, and make it look a little bit more exciting. This is how to do texture and interest and fun without blowing things out of the water, right? This is how you do it. And so I was thinking, okay, maybe we do one of these, right? Just in either like a little color or like a lighter color, a little pattern, something like that to give you a bit of a pop without going crazy. Like picture this, underneath what you're wearing today. Picture this underneath what you're wearing today. This thing right there. It's like, oh, wow, that would really add a little bit, right? Just a teeny little bit. So I think wearing one of these would be helpful as well, just to try it out and see if you like it. So perfect. Well, there you go. All right, so that's about, I would say, 15 items or so to throw in with the shoes and access and things like that too, jackets and whatnot. Maybe a little bit less. What I want you to do is we're going to tread lightly for a little bit. We're going to get some of these items and then we're going to start to play. We're going to have a little bit of fun, but we need the clay to work with first. Take care of home base. Okay, anything that needs to get tailored, we're going to tailor that up, right? We're going to do that. Color, anything that's not in the right color, we're going to take that out. Home base is set. Start adding some of this stuff in. Start with shoes, right? Say, all right, we know exactly what we need there. Let's ship that stuff in. We'll rotate the old stuff out. We'll start playing a little bit there. Okay. And that's what that's going to look like. So that's pretty much all I got for you in terms of what we're going to add in for right now. And then all this stuff will be sent to you, like I said, via PDF as well, and the video recording and all that. And then we're going to go back and forth. So once you have the clothing, that's when we'll go either back for another session, or we can say, okay, cool. We'll just go back and forth via email, whatever it is that works best for you. And we'll start putting some stuff together. But we need to get those pieces first. Okay.
Perfect.
All right. So any other questions for today? Hopefully, I know we went a little over on time, so thanks for giving me that. I had some extra time too, so I wanted to make sure you got everything. So any other questions before we jump off for today?
Absolutely. So we covered a lot of information today. I know it's all going to be in the PDF. The challenge that I have is I would much rather, the reason I don't paint my own houses is because I'm not a professional painter. So I'd rather hire somebody that's a pro to do it. So all these items that need to be ordered in the right color, the right size. And we went through it so fast, I don't even remember what needs to be ordered. Okay. So is there somebody that I can hire to basically handle that for me, have it all shipped in? I can try it on, decide what I like, don't like, ship it back, and handle all that part of it.
I mean, it's something that I could do for you if you want. I mean, I don't know. You could probably have an assistant do it if you wanted to, right? If you thought that would be better. But I mean, all the items, it's item, three brand names where you can find it, what you need to be looking for. That's how it's laid out in the PDF. You know, so
let me look at it in the PDF.
Okay.
Because the other thing is that if I have an assistant do it, they don't know what colors, because whereas you do. What would you charge? Do you have a rate for doing shopping like that?
Generally just an hourly rate, which is $127. So it would just be that for, you know, however long it takes, but I don't think it would be that long. I mean, we already have the list, right? That's just basically it. There is some stuff that if you could get to a store, we could shortcut some of this, but a lot of it, if you're fine with sending it back, then we're good. Right? It's, you know, sometimes guys are like, it's more of a headache to, you know, get things shipped in and then send it back. But if you're willing to sort of, you know, wait for it or whatever, if you're fine with, you know, returning it, then I would say we just go that route, right? It just stretches out the project length a little bit longer. But if you're okay with trying it on and saying yes, no, then we can move on that.
Perfect.
Yeah, I'd be fine with doing it for you, but have a look at the PDF, see what you think. You could probably handle some of it too as well. It's up to you. But if you're like, hey, you know what, let's just crank this out, you know, add it to the shopping cart or just send me the links or whatever, and you'll just order it. However you want to do it, that's fine. But it shouldn't take that long for me to do if you did want me to do it.
Okay.
But I'll send everything over first just so you can view it. Okay.
Yes. Let me just wrap up with a couple of things.
Sure.
One is I love the ideas you came up with. This is probably out of any of the stylists that I've worked with, you've been the most creative as far as coming up with ideas, as far as like things like the waistcoats, the jackets, the lightweight jackets. I haven't seen that done before. Generally, they've always been heavier jackets like what I'm wearing right now. Love your ideas with the shoes. So I think you've nailed it perfectly as far as what I would go for, what I would try out. Second thing I really wanted to commend you on, since I'm very involved in marketing within my companies, your funnels are exceptional as far as from your landing page where you enter the information, the type of emails I got back, when I completed something, the next instructions, extremely clear. Some of the best funnels I've actually seen. So I'm not sure
thank you.
If you built those out or if you had a marketing, it's extremely professional. So you should really be proud of that because you've nailed it as far as your marketing goes.
Well, thanks. I mean, I did it all myself, to be honest. And so, you know, I think a lot of it, you know, when I started doing this, you come out and you're like, look, you're just trying to help people and I'm good at this one thing, right? And then, you know, you start a business and you're like, all right, cool. Well, now what, right? And then you have to figure out how to get people to the business. I think a lot of it, there's two things. I think a lot of marketing stuff transitions from this pretty well, right? And so, you know, some of the style and things like that kind of coordinate pretty well. And then also, I know my customer and I know who I can serve the best. Right. And I think that all I do is put out, I'm like, hey, look, here's what I got. If you want it, here's exactly what I do. And here's how I can help. And I think I'm very clear on how I can help. And if you like it, it resonates with the right people. Right. And I turn people away all the time, but it's the idea is I can help people that really want it. And I have this specific thing and I just try to communicate that clearly. So it's very good to hear that I do, because it really does make a difference, man, because I do slave away over that stuff. Just like, how can I get the right people, you know, to come to me? And so, yeah, I do appreciate it a lot.
Yeah, generally my experience would be with just about any other service company or anything like that is that you sign up, you don't hear anything from them, you finally get some type of crappy email back.
Right.
Like everything is just very timely and organized, well-spoken, and you come extremely professional. And so that's one of the big reasons I wanted to work with you is like this guy has put a lot of time and effort into his business and really showing that he cares about people. So great job.
Thank you. And to be honest, I do. And I really do. And it's like, that's why we would sit here for another hour if both of us could, right? And we would just go into it because I care a lot. So, you know, it's like whatever we need to do to get you squared away and get things set, we're going to do it. So like, you know, moving forward, it's going to be great. So, all right. In the next 2 days or so, you're going to get all that stuff. If you have any questions in the meantime, just let me know, but digest some of that as it comes back to you, right? The PDF and everything. And then when you do, we'll just go back and forth and hammer it out.
All right. Awesome.
All right.
Patrick, thank you.
Jack. Absolutely. My pleasure. It was great. Yeah, absolutely. All right. We'll talk soon. Okay.
Okay. Bye now.
All right. Bye, Jack. Take care.